Ta-da!
We're back!
We're back! Let's see if we remember how to live stream, everyone. How we doing? Good evening. Are we? I have 2 commenters in there from Tim and Kim. Can someone tell us if our sound is good? I think I hear myself on my little preview screen, but if someone wants to just chime in that we're okay.
Just double check our sanity.
And Dewey!
Sound is good, thank you, Tim.
Audio is good, thank you, Tim.
That is
Sound
a
is
good.
good, thank you, Kim.
That is.
Tim and Kim. Tim, Kim, and Dewey.
It sounds like Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
I know, almost, but not quite. All right, guys, we have so much to talk about. So much.
This was a big trip.
This was a big trip. We are going to go right into the fun stuff.
Tim didn't even break into theme park news.
I didn't even. I don't think there's time. Also, I genuinely we've been gone for 2.5 months.
Like, what are we?
So everyone knows. Yeah. So real quick, let us ping our socials here because our format has changed a little bit. So Tim and Katie on Facebook, obviously YouTube where you're watching now, if you're anybody. The Real Tim and Katie on Instagram and Threads, and timandkt.net is our website, which is chronically behind, but in the process of being caught up.
There may be, if you haven't been in a while, there's some new blog posts.
There's some new blog posts. Katie has been
They are
writing.
not in any particular order.
Katie has been writing like a crazy person to try and get us caught up. So, for the next slide, I am going to go ahead and bring on our special guest for the evening. You all have seen her many times before, and you'll keep seeing her. Kaylee, welcome from Fantastic Travel. How are you this evening?
Hello, I'm doing good. How are y'all?
It's funny you should ask because for those who are not aware, some of you are, we are bouncing back from head colds, the both of us.
Yes.
So at any point during this live stream, we might break into a coughing fit or a snuffleupagus with our tissues here.
Cough drops.
We'll see how it goes, but we are on the upswing. We've been on the upswing for a couple of days.
It's like we feel good, but there's just like 1 or 2 things that are just hangers on that won't quit. So sorry about that, but I mean,
we did not want to push back another live.
Yeah, we didn't want to push back.
First of all, we're fine. We're fine. We've been going to work. We've been doing things.
Missed you guys.
We
want to talk.
It's been devastating to be sick right at the end, the proper end of spooky season though, because we did miss something last weekend that we were really excited for, and we're definitely not missing Blackout at Field of Screams this Friday. It's gonna happen. So, how are you, Kaylee?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, just busy.
Are you quite well?
I am quite well. Thank you. Yes, but excited. This was the highlight of my day. I was looking forward to this all day long.
You said so, and I was like, little old us?
Oh.
Yes, of course. Talking with my favorite people with my favorite trip.
Oh. Tim says, still waiting on the Dark Knight vlog.
Me too.
Tim, you shut up. Tim, I am editing that vlog currently. I've been editing that vlog all week. It was supposed to be out last week, and then I just felt horrible as I got hit with the worst of the plague. So it is happening. It hopefully will happen this Friday.
Thank you for being one of the only people who will watch it.
Tim's in it as part of his motivation. True. But it's also, yes, those of you who saw us at Hershey Park that night and have been where the heck is this vlog? It's the Lost Halloween vlog. It's coming. We've and we'll touch on this in our live stream with Kaylee as well, but there's a couple of vlogs that still have yet to come from spooky season. So not transitioning to Christmas quite so quickly as some other channels, but but you will see us at Blackout. That is a thing. That is happening. I would go even if I was on the verge of death. And then Blackout would probably
and then we stop fighting.
So before we dive into our fun trip, which is going to be the majority of the night, and I'm sure this is going to be a long one, but please do check out Kaylee's content as well. She is vlogging the entire trip. Even when we weren't vlogging, I think she was vlogging. So I don't know that you know when the content's coming, Kaylee, but it will be coming.
Do I know when the content is coming? It'll be next year. It will be next year.
I mean,
or maybe the next. I'm giving myself a 2-year window, but I'm very busy. Not to say that Tim and Katie aren't, because they're also very busy, but like they're better at time management than I am.
Nonsense.
YouTube is just the very bottom, unfortunately, of my things I have to do. But I do love it. I do really love the content that I created for this trip. So I hope that you guys will subscribe if y'all haven't, and we'll see you next year or two.
She is an A+ blogger, you guys. If you haven't seen a Kaylee vlog, you have to check out Phantasmic Travel. I honestly feel like in some ways she's better at blogging than we are, because I am so nitpicky about how I present my on-camera self, and I have to like go back and do things like 8 times in a row to get something I'm happy with. Whereas Kaylee can just like off the cut, you're a master of the walkthrough. Like you can just do everything in one take, and if you flub it, you're just like, oh well, then you just move on. And I'm like, I wish I could do that.
It's definitely
not.
It's not.
Not.
Yeah.
Oh, my people. Okay. All right. So guys, we went to California. I don't know if you knew.
I did.
We left like a month ago.
No, really?
Yeah.
No.
It was like,
Wait.
Like
Yeah,
it was 12th or the 10th.
Oh, left to go there a
Yes.
month ago. I thought you meant like we left the state of California a
No,
month ago.
no. So we left.
Yes, October 11th was
left
the day that we
from
left for
Baltimore
our
to go
trip.
there.
And I will say, like, there's a lot of stuff that happens in our area haunt-wise that's only October. So like a lot of people, when they heard that we were going in October, they were like, are you nuts? You're going to throw 2 weeks out of haunt season? And I was like, but listen, most of the stuff in our area is only open for the weekends. So you're talking like 6 days of haunts.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of
lot.
spooky stuff in California that was open on the weekdays.
Yeah.
So it balanced out. But we also did a lot of non-spooky stuff, or a lot of like kind of light spooky stuff too, that had like a Halloween, but like spooky fun
like
Halloween.
family friendly.
And not like, not all of it was Halloween Horror Nights. Although we do have a Halloween Horror Nights vlog out. I mean, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We got a lot to say about what we did.
Taco about it.
Taco about it?
Taco Tuesday.
Not for me.
No, it wasn't Taco Tuesday for me either.
Where we went. So, okay. This, I don't even know if you guys know the full extent of the total balance owed, but we spent 10 nights in Southern California. It was not a cheap there and back trip. Like
I saw the spreadsheet.
If you want to know what it costs.
I don't think Katie wants to know.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't think Katie wants to know. But we spent 10 nights. So we flew out on a Friday, and then we spent 10 nights in the hotel, and then we flew back. Same hotel this time. In 2022, when we all went together, we had a lot of issues caused by hopping. And I think we all agree we saved a lot of money doing that, but also it was horrible.
But also,
it was like
lost years off
flying on a kayak itinerary where you hit like 14 different stops on your way to your final destination, and you save $25.
Granted, you do not have to stay for 10 nights at the Disneyland Hotel to enjoy Southern California.
No.
You can stay at other places in the area and save a lot of money. So we definitely, this is not like the how to budget a friendly trip.
This is the opposite of that. This is the how to spend the most amount of money possible in Southern California. Oh, Kaylee, we were just talking about
We were just talking about that. It's been a year, actually.
Has gone through some rebrands in the last. Well, actually, it was like a year ago, but like
a year ago. It was like September. Yeah, I do miss the reaction videos, but they got me into the vlogging. So here we are.
Vlogging is addictive.
I love it. I do. I love it.
It is. I have a love-hate relationship with vlog. I really do love making the content. I hate editing the content. I think kind of every vlogger feels the same way about that. Like editing is never as much fun as doing the thing. All right. Anyway, so much to talk about. Don't let me get on a tangent, guys. So, speaking of spending, but this is a huge thing, and I wanted to include this in the live stream because we're not really going to talk about it in any of the vlogs that we're releasing after the fact. And I think this is like the biggest thing that we did for ourselves during the trip that made such a huge difference. And believe it or not, it was not as expensive as you'd think. So we booked a car service, a private ride, not rideshare, a private ride service from LAX to the Disneyland Hotel where we ultimately wound up staying. And we wanted to do that because we've done it every other way. We have done Ubers and Lyfts from the airport to Disneyland or the Disneyland area. We've rented a car from the airport and driven to Disneyland. And Katie and I have done like the Carmel shuttle with the vacation package if you book at the Disneyland Hotel. So we've done it all. And this is the only thing that we'd like never really looked at because on paper, it seems like the more expensive
like hiring
option.
a car.
But depending on when you arrive, if you take an Uber or a Lyft or any other ride share or a shuttle service, I mean, there's ways to get there more cheaply than we did and we have done, certainly. But if you take the standard rideshare options from the airport to the Disneyland area, if you fly into LAX specifically, I think there are airports that are closer. But from LAX, where we can get an easy direct flight to the Disneyland area, Ubers cost a lot. Like they add up. And they add up even more so as if you're going off property in between and you need to like keep adding to that tab.
Also needed a car that we knew was going to be big enough.
Yes, that was the other thing. We do not travel light.
Shovels. Oh my gosh. Suitcases. Our big suitcases.
Not even close.
It's okay.
I threw my water bottle.
Yeah.
This is the kind of life.
We needed a car, so we'd have to make sure it was like an Uber XL, and then that's already more expensive. Plus, like the other nice thing about this car service was we could tip beforehand.
Yeah.
And we felt comfortable doing that because we knew the service was probably going to be pretty good, you know.
Also, there's something to be said about like when you're already spending a ton of like when you know that this trip is going to be expensive and like in your head you're like this is going to be a really expensive trip. Like you're not as hesitant to throw a little more money at something like this that's like getting from A to B reliably without having to. You don't have to compete with the Uber or Lyft pool.
Right.
I remember like when we got there in the middle of the night, like there was a traffic backup and we couldn't even take our shuttle to the Enterprise lot to get our car direct. And I didn't want any of that this time. I was just like, you know what, we're going to throw a little extra money at this problem. And I recognize not everyone has that luxury and we're very privileged to be able to do that. But I think it was so worth it. Like this is probably the only way we're going to do it from here on out.
Oh my gosh.
Because so you can see in the text message there, I like screenshot it and I blocked out the number and whatnot. But our driver texted us a day before, 24 hours. I think they get assigned to your trip. We used executive car service. So the way they do it, 12 hours before a driver gets assigned to your trip. And the driver will text you, make contact, make sure you have their contact information. They'll tell you exactly where they're going to be at exactly what time. And if you get lost or whatever, they'll call you and make sure that you know where to go.
They're tracking your flight.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to the airport.
Yes.
They have car service all over the...
Right. But they'll track your flight. They'll know if you land 10 minutes early or if you're coming late.
And then the other thing is that, well, in addition to the fact that the car, I mean, that's an actual picture from like one of their cars. Like it's very, very nice. We felt like very comfortable and they had like free waters in there for us.
And it was like Fiji.
Yeah. Like concierge water.
I think I grabbed a Fiji water bottle and then I filled it up for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
Well, spoiler alert, we used this service more than once. Every car that we took with the executive car service had water bottles.
Yeah.
All of our drivers were so polite and nice. Not all of them were extroverts. Like some of them just, wanted to let us talk and do their own thing, and that's fine.
Totally fine.
But a lot of them were extroverted, and all of them, I think, were in like the nice like limo, like suit and tie. So like you feel like royalty when you show up. Anyway. It really wasn't that pricey. I think for the back and forth trip, it was around $350.
Okay, for airport.
And for all the way to the airport and back, like round trip.
Yeah.
Now we did, as I said, use this service elsewhere in the trip as well. So we'll talk about that later. But definitely, like, I cannot recommend these guys highly enough. Like the other thing is that they were able to use the, what's it called? The HOV lanes on the highway.
HOV.
So like HOV, yeah. So we did not get any backup, whereas every Uber I've ever been in getting from LAX to Disneyland or the Disneyland area has hit a tremendous backup, and we've taken an hour and 45 minutes to get everywhere. Everyone was able to use the carpool lanes because of the nature of their business. So awesome. Kaylee, did you have anything to add here? I've been talking nonstop.
No, I think you did a good job of saying everything. It was great. The waters were really nice. and all the drivers were super nice. And like you said, some of them wanted to talk, and some of them were like, it's not like they wouldn't have talked to us, but
yeah, if we talked to them, we would definitely talk back. But
yeah, they would talk back, but they were kind of chill. You know, some of them would ask more questions, and then some would be like, "I'm just cool letting y'all have your own convo."
Yeah.
Also,
who was it that was like one of our drivers had driven Beyonce's parents around, so we were like,
was it Fabian?
It might have been.
The
If it wasn't Fabian, it might have been Lewis from the.
Because I know I asked him. I think no, you asked him actually.
Yeah, Adrian Brody, he had personally chauffeured around, and then his parents were like the second most famous.
He was really cool. Which a lot of our drivers, or like two of the drivers, I know that we spoke to were like locals, and they had like lived there their whole life. So it was really cool to talk to them and see. Like I love asking like, "What's your favorite restaurant?" or "What's your favorite?"
You were great at asking them questions.
Yeah. I just like to like get that side of it of like, you know, you're not a tourist. Like, what do you like to do? Like, what's fun around here for you? So it was interesting because I just like getting to know people. So it was a fun time.
And the other thing, Kim just put in the chat that her Uber was $70 from LAX to Disneyland plus tips. So that comes out to if you do it both ways. And it's not to say it's going to be the same price each way each time because Uber and Lyft are dynamic pricing. But if you look at it from that perspective, it comes out to nearly $200 after tip. We're talking about $150 more, which is not nothing, and I recognize that. But to take all of the guesswork out of the situation, like I don't have to compete with other Uber and Lyft rideshare people. Like everyone's trying to get a.
It's also always a gamble, like what kind of driver you're gonna get.
And also like, you know, not to dwell on the negative, but our flight in was not the smooth. It didn't have disruptions or anything, but I know that like we were all anxious to get off the plane and get where we're going, and like it was nice to ride in comfort and not have to worry about getting there after that flight.
And as Katie mentioned too, the luggage part, you know, having that much luggage. Because I mean, now Katie was really good about packing, but me and Tim, especially me, had a lot of luggage.
They don't travel light.
Listen. We like to know that we have all our bases covered. That's all. That's it.
I had a lot of luggage. We were there a while though, okay?
So, executive car,
highly
recommend. The Disneyland Hotel was our ultimate destination. And I think we've all stayed there before. When we came the first time in 2022 together as a group, we did stay, I think, the same room type too, but only for like 3 nights. And one of those days that was supposed to be a rest day was our move-in day when we transferred between resort and resort. Turns out, not a great place to park your rest day because you don't actually get into your room until like 4 o'clock, give or take.
Yeah.
And also, if you happen to have like a raging viral something or other and you're got a fever of like 102, it's really difficult to move between one room and the other with all your luggage. So yeah, we decided to do it a little bit more luxuriously this time around and not hotel hop at all. And so we just spent literally like 10 nights at the Disneyland Hotel. We did get our room serviced and cleaned, I think like 3 times over the course of the trip. We did laundry once, which turned out to be a godsend because everyone was like, I don't think we need to. And I was like, I'm going to. And if I hadn't have done it, I would have run out of clothes. But we also got to explore the property a little bit more than we did before. We did not do the Tiki Bar this time, the Enchanted Trader Sam's. We did everything else at least once, I think. And we got to do Goofy's Kitchen, which we had to book in advance, but we got to do like pretty much all the hotel things. We got to actually like kind of slow walk it and pace everything out, enjoy the space. And the Disneyland Hotel is very expensive. Don't get me wrong. A good neighbor hotel in the area like the Hilton or the Anaheim Hotel, all of which we've stayed in before, definitely a better budget option. But there is no beating the Disneyland Hotel for walkability to the parks. Except the Grand Californian. And the Grand Californian's out of even our price
budget. No.
So this was kind of the dream come true trip. And no one got sick.
No one got sick.
Which was a blessing. We all got sick after, but nobody got sick during, and I don't care about after. So this, I think, and we also, I forgot to mention this, when we checked in, it was like what?
11:30.
Our flight was
something.
delayed a little bit, but like we got in around like 11 or 12, right? If
And our room was ready at like 40.
Well, this is the thing. We requested a room type when we booked that was not going to be ready for like 3 more hours. So like when I went to the front desk, I was like, "Can you guys? Disney will take your bags and you can go out and do things while you're there. If your room's not ready, you can even use the pool or whatnot if you want to dig your swimsuit out." So I just walked up to concierge and I was like, "Hey, I know our room's probably not ready, but can we leave our bags and go hit downtown Disney or something?" And the woman that was on the concierge, and I can't remember her name, and I wish I could because I want to give all the cast members compliments, but she had an iPad out front and she was like, "Let me see, your room is actually not ready, but the room type that you're looking for, we can get you a very similar room type that's ready like right now if you want that one." And I was like, "Sure, why not? I'm a gambling man. I'll take that." And the one that they gave us, I think, was way better than the one that we were going to get.
We don't know what we were going to get, but we were
Yeah.
very...
We had a view of the Matterhorn.
I would love to see in comparison what we were going to get before. Like I would just love to see what the difference was. But
we were very happy. Like I ran over to the window and I threw open the curtains and I was like, "Guys, we can see the Matterhorn." And they were like, "Ah!"
Yeah, it was, and it will be. We actually, Katie hates me when I do resort tours. It's not her favorite thing, but I did it anyway. So there will be a Disneyland Hotel tour. We will show you our view from the room in a future vlog. It probably won't be out until next year because we'll be pacing out holiday content. But yeah, it was just the best view, and we could even see the fireworks. Like we didn't have a clear view of all the fireworks, but thankfully the DVC building that just went up, some of the fireworks were reflecting off of them. Other fireworks that were based behind the Matterhorn, because spoiler alert, they don't all come from behind the castle. We could see certain fireworks popping off. It was, I love our room.
Magical.
Absolutely wonderful. I miss it very much to this day.
It was magical.
Kim says the on-property Disneyland hotels are so expensive, but Grand Californian and Disneyland Hotel are so convenient. And that is exactly why we looked there, because so we knew that this trip we were not going to have a car, which was going to make it a lot harder to get back and forth between different places. We still wanted to go other places, and we did arrange for that, and we'll talk about that. But we also knew that wanting to go to Disneyland was the main priority. Like being in the parks, near the parks, whatever, that was the plan. And so we were like, I know it's expensive. Like we all had this conversation. And we booked like a year and a half in advance and started like chipping away at the grand total. Because that's the great thing about Disney is that you can put $200 down to make all your bookings and reservations and then just start throwing money at it over a long period of time.
That helps.
So we had this conversation, the three of us, way back when, and we were like, is this too much? Yes.
Yes, it is.
But is it so convenient? Are we going to be so glad we have the Disneyland hotel room at the end of a long... We're talking like Disneyland is not Disney World, right? Disneyland is open from 9 a.m. until 12 midnight, some nights 1 a.m. And we were trying to do a lot of those days from end to end. So we were like, after all that, are we going to want to walk all the way back to the off-brand hotels? Like Anaheim Hotel, even being as close as it was still a long walk to go all the way around the gate. So I don't regret anything.
Yeah. I didn't ever remember feeling like the Anaheim Hotel walk was super long. But now, in comparison, I do. I'm like, oh, that was such a, because we would be walking back to the Disneyland Hotel and I'm like, how did we walk all the way back?
And then the last night we took the monorail back to which takes you almost to the side entrance. Anyway, so it really takes the walking out.
We did when we got on the first night of this trip. Or the first day, I guess, when we got in and we were like, we're hungry. We don't want to make a Disney reservation. We don't need to pay $1,000 for a meal or whatnot. We did walk all the way through downtown Disney just to get a little taste. And then we just kept walking and went across the street to Panera.
Yeah.
And then we went to CVS. So we wound up doing the whole loop anyway, all the way around the Disneyland property from the outside. But that was the only time we did it. I think the rest of the trip, we were in the Disneyland Hotel to stay in the Disneyland Hotel. And it was so nice. So also, yes, as you said, like taking the monorail back and forth between the main park was. It's just fun. It's just fun. It's
nice
it's
at the
magical
end of the night when your feet are tired to cut your. You've already done your 25,000 steps. It's fine.
So first day, guys. Do we want to? I might have to take us off so that everyone can see what we did on the first day. But hold on, let me get the live thing out of there.
Like first day?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say.
You guys are in most of these pictures, so you can talk about the the first night or the first day.
We're in the equal amount of photos, sir.
Yeah, I see you put your model shot in there, Tim.
There's not that many pictures of me in the Anaheim packing house. So
we did ask Tim to take a lot of pictures.
I did a lot.
We did. No, you're right. You are such a good photographer.
We did do I don't know why I want to start with the escape game because everything else is, I guess, from the packing house. But we did do. We went to the garden walk and did escape the hideout with Mission Escape, and we beat it. We had 15 minutes left, Kaylee. We had a pretty
14.
good.
Yeah, we had
right there, 14:31.
Oh, okay.
And that was after we also sat on the floor and sang for a few minutes.
Yeah, we were like.
We were very tired.
4 hours without sleep, and so we were like,
we were missing a clue, and we just sat on the floor, and we were singing like the LO. The love is for the way you look on the floor.
Yeah, from the Parent Trap.
About the game master is probably looking at us like, what?
So
did these people smoke before they got?
So when Katie and I went to the garden walk in 2018, was our trip. Our first trip was much closer when we stayed at the Anaheim Hotel together. We were much closer to the garden walk, and that's how we found it. And when we went there and we did an escape game. They were bundling everyone. You know how escape games used to do for the most part is like combining groups.
So like a group of 8 or something.
Yeah, if you're not 8 people, there's a good chance they're going to combine you with another group. So during COVID, they stopped doing that. A lot of escape places did. And so Mission Escape, when we went back, we were booking the entire room for the 3 of us. And that was fun in a way because, we had space to spread out. We weren't like on top of each other. But also...
Sometimes it's
nice
to have
sped us up a little bit.
Extra couple brains, but we
did fine.
We did really well.
Really.
We did. I mean, they came in and they were like, but we were also like almost 24 hours without sleep at that point because we had a really, really early flight to go 6 hours to Southern California. And so we're like, they're saying we sat in the middle of the floor. That's because we went from multi-room escape rooms. We got into the 3rd room, and then we were like, I can't find this clue. This floor looks so comfy.
Yeah,
that's what
we're sitting on the floor, staring at the item, and I'm like, tell me your secrets.
But we did escape.
We did.
We did escape, y'all. We did it. And the garden walk, dead during the day. Absolutely. You can feel like a pin drop.
It's kind of
and I do mean feel, not
it's
hear.
It's kind of like another, like a mini downtown Disney district. I don't know if you guys have, for anyone who's ever been, but there's stores, there's restaurants. They did have a really cute, a lot of cute Halloween decorations up, and we enjoyed looking at those.
Yeah, they did a really great job.
I guess it's one of those places that just comes alive after people get off of work. So
there were also a lot of places that were coming soon. They lost a lot of tenants during COVID.
Yeah.
And it's one of those places that I think is picking itself back up after the pandemic still. There's a lot of signs that say new lease coming soon or whatever.
Yeah.
But weren't open. There was also, I didn't even mention this to anyone, but there was a haunted house.
There was a pop-up.
There was a pop-up haunted house, but it wasn't open until, they said 6, but it wasn't open actually until 7. We walked up at 6:15. And they were like, it's going to be about another hour. We're still getting actors placed. And I was like,
we're not going to wait an hour.
I want to go back to the room and sleep. So
the rest of the photos are all from the Anaheim packing house or the packing district.
That's the Chinese lanterns that Tim was pointing out.
The packing district is a kind of, historically, it's where...
The foodie space.
Well, historically, it's where... cargo was unpacked. That's what it's for. So you can see homages. That's why Tim is sitting on a bunch of boxes up there in kind of the middle left.
I have so many photos to share on Instagram, but like none that would have not needed context on
the packing house is like a indoor food court of sorts, and there's lots of different places to eat. So we went to like the mac and cheese. Oh my goodness, the grilled cheese.
It's okay.
It's okay. It's fine.
It is Instagram heaven in there.
And
there was like
so
a live DJ. I know, like when we did take an Uber/Lyft to the packing district, which is only about 10 minutes away from Disneyland. So like it's a really short trip, and it's something that I think is innately vloggable, but we were not in vlogging shape. I think Kaylee did some vlogging.
I got a little bit. It's not very cohesive. I got a little. I don't know.
It was so like when we're on the way there, we're trying to like explain what the packing house is to Kaylee, who's never been there before. And I was like, I don't know how to like, it's like a shell of an old packing printing place, and it's got like railroad tracks, and I don't know, it's got food. And I'm like, there's nothing you can really say to like accurately describe it.
It's like
and then when you walk in, it's like, whoa! And you start taking pictures every corner. Like,
and outside, still part of the packing district, but not in the packing house, there was actually like a little like spooky season fair going on.
That's where the Chinese lanterns are from. Like they had like a pop-up farmer's market, but like Halloween themed. And it was crazy cool. Like we definitely spent like 2.5, maybe 3 hours in the packing district and the outside, like the farmer's market as well.
We had our dinner, we had our really good ice cream for dessert, and we walked the
real quick. I want to say hi to Francis. Hi, Francis. Thank you for joining. No hurry on the replay. It's going to be like 2.5 hours long.
But yeah, we're glad we made it back there because Tim and I went in 2018. We hadn't made it back in we weren't able to squeeze it in with our last trip with Kaylee.
And also, as compared to the garden walk, this place was popping.
Well, we did go at like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So it's definitely popular. Even like one of our drivers, this was a Lyft driver. Who said, who was actually like impressed. We went there and thought that was a good spot for us to visit. So
I think it is a local spot. Like it's very much like a hidden gem in the Anaheim area. And it's made a lot of the lists of like, if you go and look at like a tourist blog or whatever, like it'll be on like the 10 things to do in Anaheim. But the problem with those lists is that if you're looking for something outside of Disneyland and you type in 10 things to do outside of Disneyland,
it'll list like the Matterhorn,
all of the Disneyland things, and like one.
Like, just do the Matterhorn.
You have to do a little bit of digging to find it. But this is our class recommendation. Anaheim Packing District, aka the Packing House. It is the place to be.
It's cool.
I did have one thing I wanted to share before we move on from the Packing House, which was it had the little speakeasy that we didn't get to go in.
Yeah, we have to check.
But that was so cool.
If we go back, you have to book that in advance. Like they said no one is allowed in without 24 hours.
It was wild.
And we were like,
wild.
But it looks so cool.
Yeah.
It's like
it looks so cool.
A wall of barrels that like opened up.
I think they were like
I got an Instagram thing for it. But
it was so cool.
It was like It was like, what's the Japanese wine? Sake. It was like sake barrels or something, and they would open it up. And I'm
gonna try to see if I can pull it up for like just for this.
And the like maitre d' at the front like told us it's an all year round speakeasy. Most of the year it is like 1920s themed, like they typically are. But during Halloween they do like a special theme, and this year's theme was Beetlejuice, and we were like, oh, that's cool.
It was devastating. Yes, I've got it. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
See if I can make this.
Are you going to play?
I'm gonna try.
Oh. Yeah, there's like the secret door.
Yeah.
And there it goes.
It's literally, it just becomes like you'd never know it was there.
Yeah,
you never know.
I'm glad you brought that up, Kaylee, because that was fun. That's something we did for.
We had to ask them because we kept looking at it. We're like, What is this?
Yeah.
They just like,
we
did we really
didn't
just
even
see
see the
that?
door open. We just saw people like round the corner and disappear. And
Well,
I
I
was
would
like, what? It's a
see-
wall of barrels. Where are they
I saw
going?
like 2 inches of the door close, and I'm like, did that wall just open? Because I thought it was another photo op. I just thought it was another.
It's
like,
a
wall
lot
photo
of
op.
photo ops in there. But like just architecture, not even like, I mean, it's Instagram haven. I like that
definitely
description.
a lot
I'm
of-
sticking with that.
A lot of Instagrammable things.
No, Tim.
We didn't
Unfortunately,
make
the speakeasy. We can't. You weren't able to go into the vlog. You weren't able to go into the speakeasy
Doing great.
without making a 24-hour. We talked to the front desk girl if there was such a thing as a front desk, and she said that you had to make a reservation 24 hours in advance. So we watched people go in one time, and then we weren't able to get any closer than that.
Yeah. Next time.
But it's on the bucket list for going back. Okay, should we talk about parks?
Yeah.
We did a few parks. I don't know if you all know us, but we like parks.
We like
parks. So, over the course of 11 days, if you count all of them, we did 4 parks and 2 events. So, I don't have super deep slides for every single thing. If y'all want to just like kind of look at each slide and riff on like, yeah. So we had, if we're starting with Disneyland, and DCA is part of the Disneyland package. So every day that we had Disneyland, we also had DCA. There was not a single day that we didn't park hop.
Yeah.
Having said that, there are things that we can say about our unique experiences at Disneyland and our unique experiences.
I mean,
at DCA.
I can riff that all of us got to see Toontown for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toontown has been elusive.
Toontown was, just Tim and I stupidly missed Toontown completely when we went in 2018 because I don't think we even realized it was there. And then when we went the next time with Kaylee, it was still under its refurbishment, so it was closed. We got as close as the like train station, and that was it.
And we were lucky to go after Mickey and Minnie's opened because it was different.
Yeah,
too. Like Mickey and Minnie's was a little bit. If you've done Mickey and Minnie's at Walt Disney World and Hollywood Studios enough to know that something is a little bit different in this scene or that scene, like you'll enjoy doing.
Yeah,
Mickey
and the
Minnie's
queue
at
itself
Disneyland.
is just so cute.
Oh yeah, the queue
Like,
it fits so much better in
so-
Toontown than it does in Hollywood Studios.
And that means we all got to ride Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin
That
for
was
the
so
first
fun.
time too, which is a fun little dark ride.
That might be my favorite like
And that queue
proper
is
dark ride.
really
in
good too.
Disneyland.
That queue was really cute as well. Did you have any? I'll pass it off to Kaylee if you had any notes on Disneyland.
I mean,
Yeah.
many.
Well, firstly about Toontown. So I was so excited to see Toontown. I grew up playing Toontown online, so it was so cool to like get to see it. And I don't know that this is necessarily what Tim is talking about with Easter eggs, but like for me, having played Toontown online, I saw like several things where I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the video game. So that was fun. And of course enjoyed the rides. I will say, kind of going to another part of Disneyland, one thing that was really notable to me this time around in Disneyland was the Matterhorn. When we rode this time, it did not break my back.
Yeah.
like it did the time before. It was
As it turns out, the
Fantasy?
Fantasyland track is the
We
one
thought
that
was smoother.
Yeah,
Way
I
smoother.
would do that 100 times over before I did the Tomorrowland track again.
Don't know.
Yeah.
what it
I was like
but we all-
anticipating it to be rougher,
Yep.
and then I got off and I was like, oh, it
I was like
actually
braced
wasn't
for it, and then we got off, and everyone's looking at each other like, "Was that better? Was it?" I feel like it was better.
I will also
was.
say, before we move on from Toontown, I will also say this picture that we have for our slide here, this was taken at like 11:35 p.m.
Yeah, on our last day.
Yeah.
And it is so much easier to get in and out of Toontown after.
Yeah.
I would say after fireworks, but like even after dark.
The
it's
bummer
so much
is they
easier.
do eventually like close Mickey, like they close the carrot, like Mickey and Minnie's house. I think they
Mickey and Minnie
closed.
stayed open.
Yeah.
And closed the park, but
No, but like the house, like you can't go inside.
oh yeah.
Mickey
So
and
like
Minnie.
Yeah.
you would normally be inside their houses, and
Yeah.
after a certain hour they're outside.
They're
their
greeting
houses.
outside.
But the other characters, like Chip and Dale and Goofy and Pete, like those all stop by 6 p.m. or
But
so.
if you just want to roam, look at stuff, and play with the little buttons and whatnot, definitely like after dark towards close is super great time.
I
went like down the slides and stuff. I was having a blast.
Oh yeah, we had a very childish night. The question that Tim is asking about Easter eggs, Tim, I don't know if these are the ones you're talking about, but with the refurb that happened in Toontown, like it is suddenly like all the Easter eggs are just part of the town. Like they're just more so out in the open. If anything, like finding Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Webby behind like the Goofy house, just hidden back there, rather. Like that was a nice surprise, but like a lot of I think
there's like a power line costume. Yeah,
it's not so much that like things are tucked into the corner of scenes anymore. It's just like out on like the clotheslines and whatnot. Like,
but you can there's also like, Kaylee, you knew some of them. I feel like probably because you played the game, but there would be like certain push a doorbell or something and you could hear the cat or something like that.
Yeah. Or it was like a glass factory and all like you pushed it and all the glass would break. Like for Toontown, for like what I like noticed for the game is like there was like the gag factory. When we were doing like Roger Rabbit, there was some of the like gags that are in the game. So things like that, like for me as being such a big fan of the game, I was so excited. Like it just was like the game was coming to life, or even just seeing the Toontown sign, because that's also in the game. I was just like, this is so awesome. Like I just was fangirling the entire time.
Oh, I consider that to be part of the land.
Yeah.
The back,
that was there.
The Toontown as the Hollywood. Yeah. I don't know that there's necessarily Easter eggs because they're pretty brazen and in front of you, but I think that's kind of the beauty of Toontown.
And I'm sure there were things, even though we went back there a couple times, we probably missed too, because they added
I was so worried about the reimagining because I really feel like classic Toontown was like the only real nostalgic Saturday morning cartoon Disney that we had anywhere in the parks. Like DuckTales, you'll never find anywhere else in the parks, but you found it in Toontown, and I was like so delighted that if anything, they just updated all of the Saturday morning cartoons to include newer stuff.
The new fountain is very pretty, and kids were definitely like it's basically its own splash pad or whatever now. But I did kind of miss I know the old one you used to be able to play musical instruments, and I thought that was cute, and I was a little sad that didn't happen. But it looked really nice. The new areas, it did look, off the page. Obviously, things had gotten refreshed and things like that. So
also met Pete.
Yeah, we saw so many characters. It was Pete.
Yeah.
Max.
Disneyland Max.
We saw Max there.
Okay. I thought we did Max. Yeah.
We did Max. We did not do Goofy in Toontown, but we met him elsewhere.
Yeah. He was walking
met
around.
Mickey and Minnie probably like 7 times each. So
I think Mickey and Minnie, I would agree though, go at night if you can, because the lines were so short at night. But then the other characters, like you were saying, they're like Max and Pete, like you're not going to find them at night.
The only downside to going at night is that the PhotoPass photographers have retired for the day.
Yeah.
So like you still have cast members that like manning the different character ops, but they will take your phone.
I would say,
which is not a deterrent.
You should go in during the day and see what's happening. But if you want to really like explore it and do the fun stuff, come back at night.
Yeah. I just think for that, because it's such a traditional outfit for Mickey and Minnie, and it's at their house, and also just that area is such a hub for the kids. That's why I think it's just so swamped. Because like we ran into Minnie and Mickey on the street of like DCA, like right when you walk in, and they were nowhere near as swamped as they are in Toontown.
It's a bit of a madhouse.
We ran into Mickey and Minnie after getting off the elevator in our hotel.
That's true.
Very true. They were just at a wedding.
That was literally also the coolest thing that's ever happened, because we paid nothing.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know, it was really cool.
Several weddings
we met Regal Mickey and
at
Minnie
the Disneyland Hotel while we were there, and at some point, Mickey in a tuxedo with tails, and Minnie in a wedding gown.
They were walking
in like wedding
backstage,
costumes,
and they happened to go right past us while we're getting.
And we were like, I was like, oh my gosh, that is the cutest.
It was like Stanley.
So
it was pretty cool.
Feel better. It's like, well, we're spending 10 nights at the Disneyland Hotel, but someone else is getting married here, and they're spending way more money than we are. So.
Like $100,000 weddings minimum. First cough drop, y'all.
Yeah, going down.
Not the last. What else Disneyland, guys? We got we got 3 more parks, but there's a lot. I mean, we spent, I think, 5 days total between Disneyland and DCA, if you don't count Oogie Boogie, because we did have an extra night at Oogie Boogie, and we didn't vlog every single day.
Oh, I guess I don't know if we captured this because I don't think we did. We did the fireworks show was what was it? Jack Skellington's Halloween.
Yeah, I have Instagram stuff for that.
Yeah,
I don't have vlog stuff.
Where it's not going to be in any of our vlogs, but we kind of forget. But like Disneyland only does fireworks like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. At least maybe during certain seasons, I don't know. But they don't do them weekdays, and it's just projections. So we missed out on a couple opportunities to see the fireworks we obviously saw them from our room at least like twice. But then the weekend came back around and we're like, okay, we definitely got to catch these fireworks. And they were really fun, the Halloween screen fireworks. Yeah. It wasn't Disneyland Forever, but it was really fun. Zero from Nightmare Before Christmas flies around the castle. I think we all really enjoyed them. The music was great. Some of the best, like that remix of like the Hunchback of Notre Dame music. I was like, this is one of the coolest versions of the song I've ever heard.
Disneyland does have, I mean, everyone talks about how the castle is so much smaller, including Kaylee. Kaylee is.
I do also say that.
Well, acknowledge
it grew on me this time. It did. It grew on me more than the first time, but it's still small.
The fireworks shows at Disneyland are so much better. They spread. First of all, they involve not just the castle and the hub, but like every other section of the park. There are projections on the Matterhorn. There's projections on Small World. There's projections on the Fantasmic pool, as long as Fantasmic isn't popping off at the same time.
Yeah.
And it also like there are areas that close, but there's really no place in the park where you can't see some of what's going on.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, an advantage of having a smaller castle, because that doesn't create this huge obelisk that you have to see.
I will say it is weird though, because I feel like at Disney World, when you're in like the hub in Main Street, your fireworks viewing area, like they want to keep the street clear. But if you're on a street corner, that's okay. It's like the opposite. At least
they told us we had to be in the street.
Like they were like, stand in the street, like stand on Main Street, and so it was weird. So it was weird that like the street, the
very opposite,
was filling up, but certain areas where there was like brick or sidewalk had to be left clear for people to walk. So that was counterintuitive.
I think it's because the sidewalks were bigger in Disneyland than they are in the Magic Kingdom, and also because the street is smaller. Usually in the Magic Kingdom, you have cavalcades and the little trucks and transportation that move around, and that goes late. But at Disneyland, those things are in the garage by the time they start preparing for fireworks.
And so like, it meant that we were like on a street corner for a little bit, and then we started to see people filling on the street. So then I went to the bathroom, I came back, and Kaylee and Tim are like planted on the street. They're like,
Kaylee and I went and asked a cast member, like, is this an okay place to stand for the fireworks? And she goes, no, you have to be in the street. Like literally word for word, no, you have to be in the street. And I was like, okay.
In the street we go.
All right. When in Rome.
Yeah, you got to get there early still, but it's very different than what you expect.
Yeah, but we were, I think after however many days it was our last night, we were like, you know what, we can sit for an hour. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure more Disneyland stuff will come up, but we can talk about DCA as well.
Yeah.
So we had an amazing character trip just across the board, I will say. Avengers Campus, we had just smashing success this time around. And I know like Avengers Campus is very hit or miss for a lot of people. Many people say that it's a waste of space because there's only 2 attractions, and Spider-Man, I will agree, is not all that. We usually do it at least once.
Yeah.
But Guardians is a great ride, don't get me wrong. But it is the same ride, more or less, that we have in Hollywood Studios. So while I think it's great that it exists there and it's different, it's also not a unique attraction that is
like innovative or anything like that.
However, Avengers Campus, for those that like characters, and I know Kim is a big character lover in the chat, but we are talking about character haven at DCA.
Yeah.
Every time you walk, there's so many Marvel characters, and they have rights to
many.
all of them in California.
Yep.
So every time you walk through DCA, it's a random lottery. Like you could have Ant-Man, the Wasp, Captain America, and Loki one time. You turn around and come back 10 minutes later, and it's different Black Panther, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Like the roster rotates out so quickly and so often that it's like it's the shiniest, newest place, and there's nothing that will ever take away from the character experience there. So we love Avengers Campus, just walking through, as you can tell.
Tim got
I have been hunting Black Widow.
He got
my
like
entire
2
life.
bucket list characters.
Yeah.
I did.
We actually saw, me and Katie both saw her first.
Yeah.
I had a
And
panic attack. I was like,
I knew.
Really?
I knew.
I don't know if people didn't know her because there was no one around her. It was just like a cast member, like a what are they called? Cast member attendant.
Yeah.
But
there was no line at all for her.
No, she was standing there with an attendant. I mean, I think it's because of all the Avengers, she's the one in the most.
She's
plain
not
clothes.
in. Yeah. Well, it's not. It's just it's muted. It's like it's not like Spider-Man Red or whatever.
But
Yeah.
When we walked up on her, she was watching people line up for Loki with her attendant, and we walked up, and she was like,
problem
"What's up?"
Also is like this whole entire trip, Oogie Boogie Bash is popping off some nights. So there's people in costumes that are not cast, like they're allowed to be.
Yes.
But so sometimes you got to do a double take, like, wait, is that a character or is that someone's really good Oogie Boogie Bash costume? And it was definitely it was the real Black Widow.
There was a moment where, and I do have pictures of this, but I didn't bring any to the live stream. I'm ill prepared. There was a moment where we were in line to meet Loki, and someone joined the line as Nick Fury. And it was like the costume was so convincing. I did not realize he was a guest. I almost asked him to sign the autograph book as a Marvel character. And then at the last second, I realized he's talking to somebody who's got a backpack on. But I was like, after he got his picture with Loki and started walking away, we're right behind him. I'm like, man, I thought Disney was paying you to be here. And he was like, no, not at my age. But yeah, like some people's costumes at Oogie Boogie or during the Oogie Boogie period, like super convincing.
So good.
So we also did a lot of DCA stuff we've never done before, some of which is probably going to come up towards the end of the live stream as favorite moments. But definitely San Francisco was fun.
Yeah. Kaylee had, like, I feel like she and San Francisco really
connected.
We did.
We
did. Oh my goodness. I love San Francisco. So quick little backstory. I get motion sick sometimes. So Tim and Katie were gonna go ride Incredicoaster. I can't remember if y'all got a fast or we
got a lightning lane and you got one for
I got one for the Little Mermaid. And it was like a walk-on already. So I did that really quick. And then they were pretty quick, but I texted them and I was like, I'm gonna go to San Francisco. It's right here. And let me tell you what, guys, if y'all have a chance, go to San Francisco in the morning because it is dead. Mostly because a lot of the shops are not open yet. Like the restaurants, there's a lot of restaurants in that area. Baymax is not out yet. But let me tell you, it was, number one, just so beautiful, just so much there. And it was so empty, like nobody. I got so many pictures. It was awesome. And then they have like a bakery tour. And I like walked in. It was a bread tour where they make bread. And I walked in and I'm like, is this real? Or is this like, just, a facade? And they're like, no, this is like a real, like, they'll show you how they make the bread. And I got to go through like the whole story of this little bakery. And it was great. I got to go into a Ghirardelli store that was like so cool. Talk to the manager in there. I mean, I was just living my best life, to be completely honest. And it was pretty awesome. So yeah, me and San Francisco we're special place in my heart. I think it's up there for me, like favorite place in Disney.
I really I didn't have quite the emotional connection to it, really, but we did get to spend some more time there than we did. But I'm a big anime nerd. Tim is new, but he won't say it. So, but I would say he's
asterisk.
I probably am more of, I'm also like the Japanese culture nerd as well. Like I want to go to Japan and do the dorky Japanese stuff. He mostly just wants to check out the theme parks over there, and I'm like, no, I want to go to a onsen and I want to do all this stuff. So like being like walking around San Francisco, I mean, it was so cute, and like the Japanese pop music is playing. I'm like, this is so cool.
I do like J-pop. I'm not.
And
K-pop.
It was so cute. And the food, we had lunch there one day at the Lucky Fortune Cookie.
Lucky Fortune Cookery or
yeah, that's right. Lucky
yeah.
And we all were like, this is pretty dang good.
It was.
It was really good.
Recommend the lychee tea. I really wish I had gotten another one before we left, but I didn't make time for it.
I have to address Tim's comment that Big Hero 6 is an underrated movie. I agree. I don't know if we should be counting it among the Marvel, because it did kind of get like soft brought into Marvel.
Yeah.
But it is a good film.
It is really good. The show is good too.
Yeah, I was gonna say it had a spin-off series that wasn't bad either.
The show, I didn't finish the show, but I did enjoy the show.
We did not meet Baymax,
yes,
but I did wave to him and he did wave back.
That's gonna have to be, that might be a priority next time, because his line's always long, but we're just gonna have to spin it.
Kim also is out for blood because we said that.
I would agree it's not the same ride.
It's not. I didn't mean to say it was the same ride.
But it is the same, like there's nothing, like it once was Tower of Terror.
If you are a non-Marvel, non-Twilight Zone, like if you don't care about the IP and you only care about the ride experience,
the uppy down.
Yeah,
it's the same uppy
down.
It
actually, if you only care about the ride experience and the IP doesn't matter to you, it's actually a weaker experience than the Walt Disney World version. It's one of the only rides I think in either park that would fit that description.
Just because Walt Disney World has like that kind of like dark ride.
Yeah, it doesn't slide through to give you extra scenes. However, I would argue that Guardians is more fun than Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
Because it's just more energetic and poppy and fun.
It's a party
ride, yeah. Tower of Terror is definitely a vibe though, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
I love the creepy elevator.
All right, we will come back to Disneyland and DCA, I'm sure. Not Sperry Farm, or not Spooky
Can
Farm.
You get the thing on Kaylee's face.
No, Kaylee is Mike
Wazowski. No, it's okay. I'm like Mike Wazowski.
No. When you said Mike Wazowski,
I made it on the live.
I can't believe I'm on the cover of a magazine.
So we did not do Not Scary Farm, which a lot of haunters were really upset at us about.
I mean, it was a tough decision, but I think it was the right one.
It was the right decision for us. And honestly, like we had such a great day at Knott's, and we had a very protracted amount of time. Like it wasn't, I think we got there like an hour after opening, and that's just because
it was going to close like at 6:00 on the dot.
5:00.
Oh, was it 5:00?
It was really tight.
Ooh, it was tighter.
But we had the is it Fast Lane? I think it's Cedar Fair. So we had Fast Lane, which let us get on most of the big attractions that we wanted to. Kaylee, I think your vlog this day was like what to do if you're not a big like rides person. Or was it like a roller coaster person specifically?
Yeah, it is. It again, in a year or two, you shall see. But no, it was fun. And you know what, guys? Okay, I know the people who are on here are probably not like me and can't do coasters, but let me tell you, I really enjoy just getting to go explore, and I had a lot of fun. Like they weren't gone that long this day, because with the fast lane, like it's really nice because you don't have to wait that long on who you're with. But yeah, there's just so many cool like little themed areas, and I had a good time. So there's stuff to do for sure.
It's a real like gem of a park, and I definitely recommend. It's really not like it's a 10-minute, maybe 15-minute ride share from the Disney, from the Anaheim proper area.
Yeah, getting back a little bit harder, but we'll.
Yeah, we were also trying to get back like at 5:00, which is kind of rush hour-y too.
Well, for Not Scary Farm, it is.
Yeah, but I just mean like in general.
To tie it back to Tim's comment, the viral slide. But I'm seeing stuff from Andre from Thrills and Magic that has that slider in it from this year. So I believe yes, they are still there.
Yeah.
But the reason we didn't do Scary Farm is because either this year or last year, I'm not clear on which, Knott's, among all the other Cedar Fair parks, changed its policy on staying in the park versus re-entry. So as a result of that change, you now at precisely whatever it was, 5 o'clock that day, some days it can be later, you do get kicked out of the park even if you have a ticket for Scary Farm, and you have to re-enter through security with very different security procedures. We were there to vlog. So we came in with a GoPro, we came in with bags like backpacks and whatnot. We were there for the whole day, and we had a great day, and I don't regret any of it, except maybe Sierra Sidewinder. But that's a credit we got. But we had a fun day, and we had the bags that we had, and we knew that if we got kicked out and had to re-enter, our bags were not going to be allowed back in. And I think we found out at the end of the day, you can buy like clear plastic bags in the gift shop that will allow you back in with your stuff. But we had nowhere to put the stuff we had. And also, like, the whole layout's different. And I'm not above going to an event without vlogging it. We did that a lot during this trip. But from a standpoint of the spooky stuff that we love to like shoot and highlight and whatnot, we weren't going to be allowed to shoot any of that. The scare zones, you can't have any additional lighting. It just seemed like a better thing to come back and do another day sometime in the future than to do on top of a long, fun day where we've been filming most of it. So we decided just to do Spooky Farm and have a fun day at Knott's, and that's what we did.
We did do, spoiler alert, we did do Oogie Boogie Bash, and we did do Halloween Horror Nights. One of those events, we did just the event and not a whole day of park beforehand. The other one, we did a full day of park.
The other one,
and then
Kaylee
the
died.
Maybe you can figure out by how exhausted we are at the end of Halloween Horror Nights what we did there.
It was worth it. It was super worth it.
I think, you know, if we do a future California spooky season trip, we'll definitely have to fit Knott's in there, but it will be like this is the night we're going to Knott's and we're going to rest.
We almost did that. We almost did that. But also, Knott's Scary Farm is literally double the admission. To do the same thing that we did during Knott's Spooky Farm the full day was to more than double what we had put into that investment for the day. And like, granted, this is the splurge trip. We're talking about spending a lot of money on this trip. We did spend a lot of money on this trip.
But there were times where we were like...
There were times, when we looked at it, it was like, what are we going to get out of this experience versus what did we put into this experience? This does not seem like the day.
Yeah.
So,
and when you're planning a trip, you don't always... You're like, you're on vacation. Here's the date. These are the dates we want. You don't always think about, oh, this is a Saturday.
Yeah.
So the pricing is going to be more, the crowds are going to be higher. So we'll probably have to think about like maybe trying to go on like a Tuesday or something, or even a Sunday probably would be slightly better. But yeah, Saturday is a tough time.
Go ahead, Kaylee.
Yeah. No, I just had one thing, and this is not a complaint about Knott's Berry Farm necessarily, but yes. How'd you know? No, so okay, what had happened was, I believe it was the night before or something, we went to Oogie Boogie, right? Or like it was the day, 2 days before something, we had a resort. Yeah. Okay.
Your expectation has been set.
Yes. Okay. I was totally fine to not get any candy. I go to Oogie Boogie, and it is like the inner child in me is awakened. I was so excited. We got back to our hotel. I was looking at all my candy. Like, it was great. And I was okay not getting any more candy. But then we go to Knott's Berry Farm, and they're giving out Airheads, which I love Airheads. So now I'm like, dang it, I want an Airhead. And they're like, well, you got to be like under 11.
And then we started like judging all these kids. And we're like, that kid is not under 11.
There were so many kids that were not 11. And there were some, I'm like, you've got to be 18. I'm sorry. But I mean, I was very hurt. But, you know, I just, you know, it's very hard. It's not negative against you, but like, let the adults get some candy. Like one piece of candy. One. Like,
it
that's
was definitely
it.
a personal attack against you.
I was very hurt. I was very hurt.
We did the same thing.
Hershey Park has waffled back and forth on whether or not adults can get candy.
Sometimes in the same year, because
and I'm like,
we went through the treat fair area and they told us we couldn't have bags, but then Jay comes behind us from the theme park food, like right by. I'm not talking about like a day later. I'm talking like literally right behind us.
He's got a bag,
and he gets his bag, and he's like, candy, and I'm like, oh, you.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I know. I just wanted an airhead. I really didn't care about any of the other candy. I just wanted
like,
the
how
airhead so bad.
creepy would I look if I went up to one of these kids and it was like, I will give you $5 if you go get it. And then I was like, for $5, I can go get Kaylee some airheads.
I think
from
at
the
that
store.
point we begin to cross some
I know.
lines.
I didn't actually do it. I just was like, or like, how, like, could we trade that? I was like, too bad I didn't bring my Oogie Boogie candy.
Black market for airheads inside.
No.
There's not
Disney?
Berry Farm. There's not Scary Farm. And
Yeah.
there's not Very Scary Farm. Knott's Very Scary Farm is where you go to do all your black market airhead exchanges.
And then there was like someone had like abandoned an empty goodie bag like on the ground, and then I was like, do I start trick-or-treating? I was like, have some dignity.
So
yeah,
fun experience during the day. If you're a kid, obviously we're talking about you can do trick-or-treating and get. If you're an adult, what you get is holiday or Halloween overlays of certain
a lot more overlays than I thought.
Mhm.
The Calico Mine Ride had like a whole new song.
It's
and stuff.
Candy Mountain.
Yeah. Candy Mountain. The
Charlie and the Unicorns have been looking for
I was about to say the Splash Mountain. The
the log.
Timber
Falls or whatever.
Yeah.
Timber Mountain Falls or whatever had a Halloween overlay. So it was there's a lot of overlays, a lot of cute decorations. Snoopy was in his costume.
I made a list of all the rides we did.
There were shows and stuff too, but we didn't catch them all. But no, it was definitely family fall fun.
And Katie and I, we've already kind of established that Kaylee is not as much of a coaster person, not because she doesn't want to be, but because her body doesn't want her to be.
My body.
So Katie and I cleared a couple of coaster credits that either weren't open last time we went or I wasn't up to because that was the first day I got sick.
Yeah.
All of which were fantastic. Like to get Accelerator was a stroke of luck because that one's almost always closed.
One's down all the time.
Ghost Rider we got.
Love Ghost Rider.
Sierra Sidewinder was
Which one was that?
Which one? Sierra Sidewinder? It's the spinny one that you hated.
Oh, I did hate it.
I
did hate it. Oh, that's the one that was in Camp Snoopy.
Yes.
Oh.
Technically Camp Snoopy, but technically not. What else did we do?
Not Montezuma.
Oh yes,
Jaguar.
Jaguar
was cute.
The little that was a family coaster. It was a little mine train, but it had some kick and it had a nice long layout. I don't think we did honestly, even Sierra Sidewinder, I don't think we did a bad ride that day.
Yeah,
we did a lot of non-coasters.
Sierra Sidewinder is not a bad ride. It's just free spin, and that made me feel ick.
No, the problem wasn't even the model. The problem was that we were two heavy adults sitting on one side with two very light children sitting on the other side. So on the very first drop, we just tilt into an endless spin that just keeps going the entire. And honestly, like the more momentum you picked up, the faster you spun, and by the time we stopped, we were both like, okay, I need a minute. Let's just chill.
Nope.
Which was fine because Kaylee was chilling, waiting for us. She was like, I can
I
sit.
was fine. I was all good.
Most of the attractions at Knott's Berry Farm, we weren't able to take on-ride footage, but there were a few where they actually encouraged it, including the Candy Mountain one.
Mm-hmm.
So that vlog will be coming out from us a little bit later after spooky season, but there will be some kind of soft spooky content in there.
Yeah.
Now our
1 to 2 years.
Huh?
I said 1 to 2 years.
For our last park, we did Universal Studios Hollywood, and this, as you may have surmised, is the day where we did. This is another day where we were awake for almost 24 hours. Like we woke up at the crack of dawn. Universal Studios Hollywood's about an hour from Disneyland. So this is another day where we took the executive car service and we had that pre-booked. And that was great because, oh my goodness, you do not want to know how the Uber and Lyft situation was at 2 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. But we actually booked a VIP tour for this day. So our Universal day, we were like a little bit stressed getting in because there was traffic getting into the area, and we thought we left enough time, but we didn't quite.
Tim had left an hour and a half to get there, and we probably need a full 2 hours to
it depends on the day, but yeah.
But to combat traffic and to make sure, because you don't, no car can drop you off at the gate.
Yes.
Like you're dropped off at like one of the garages or something, and then you have to walk, and then you have to get through security, and then you get into your VIP check-in area. And we were not late.
No.
But if we had arrived earlier, we could have enjoyed the morning reception a little longer.
It's kind of like if you're... I don't know how many people have done a spa experience, but typically when you check into a spa, they'll let you into like the lounge and whatnot, and let you have like cucumber water. Like the earlier you get there, the more you get to use the amenities.
We've never done this before, but some people have access to like airplane lounges.
Yeah.
Or airport lounges.
And
if you get there early enough before your flight, you can go enjoy the lounge for a little bit longer. Yeah. We fly Southwest, so there's no lounge.
It's the same general idea though. Yeah. If you get to the Universal Hollywood, the VIP concierge, which you never see again after this point in the day, it's basically a meeting place. They have like pastries and stuff laid out, like
really,
nice, like
they had more.
What was the? Oh yeah, I know. What was the thing that Kaylee recommended? Like
an egg croissant. Oh, that sandwich. So good. It's on my favorite list. It made an honorable mention. I know you had it and you didn't think it was great.
I had like a smoked salmon sandwich that was pretty good.
But I did eat it on the go, so maybe it was just the...
I was like...
a lox like croissant that I thought was delicious.
They had like luxury coffee. I don't know if luxury is the right word.
No,
like
the luxury coffee was at lunch.
There's
lunch,
yeah. Coffee.
They had coffee.
They had nice coffee.
It wasn't the fancy coffee machine.
They had coffee. They had breakfast sandwiches. They had pastries, fruit. They had yogurts. It was a whole spread.
Yeah.
And they also, when you check
bathrooms.
in, they give you like, this will all be in the vlog, so we don't need to go through every single detail. But like checking in was an experience.
Yeah.
And if we left more time, we would have had more experience.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
Instead, like Tim was running around trying to film everything, and then
I was a little stressed at the beginning.
And then our tour guide said, "Hey, we're doing the tram first, so you can take food with you if you missed out on it." So Tim took a
so I just put a plate together, and I was just like, "Okay." They told me we could.
But we were worried because we didn't want to be like the group that like held up, because you do join, like, I think the max group size is like 12 or something.
Yes. And there's a private tram as part of the VIP tour, and your group is going to be merged with one other group.
Well, I meant like we were a travel party of 3, and then we were merged with other groups to make up our full tour group of like 12.
And then half the people dropped off halfway through the day. Unfortunately, someone got sick and had to go home. So not for the greatest reasons, but like it was nice having like 6 people for the rest of the day.
I think we all decided that like it's going to be really hard to not do. It's in particular like
there's nothing really hard about it. We're doing it every time we go,
because it does. Not only do you get like you really do get like the true VIP treatment. It is basically like your express, so you imagine like how expensive Universal Express is. And the thing is, like if you're doing like a normal day, your tour maybe goes from 10 to 5. But if the park is open and operating till 9 or 8 or 9, you get to use your VIP pass as an express pass for the rest of the day. Now we plan to go during a Halloween Horror Nights night, so the park closed for everyone at 5, and Halloween Horror Nights started at 6. So
and we had early entry, so our Halloween Horror Nights starts at 5:30.
Yeah, we couldn't take advantage of the leftover express, but it's.
The one rub that I think should be better disclosed, and I think this isn't necessarily, I don't know if this is like something against Universal, but I think this is something that I think everyone should know before booking a tour, is that Nintendo World has weird hours.
Oh yeah, that
was
disappointment.
So sad.
We bought the power-up bands. Like we were all gung-ho on Nintendo, and we did get to use them very briefly, and it was fun to use them on Mario Kart and whatnot too. But our tour wound us through every attraction almost in Universal Hollywood. We got to do everything once except for Kung Fu Panda and Simpsons, and all of us in the group were like, meh. But the world came up. Happy understands. So we did Nintendo World last, and by the time we got there, we were inside of like 45 minutes before the closure of that area. But we didn't know that. We thought it stayed open until maybe Halloween Horror Nights officially started around 7. So we thought like, hey, we've got an hour and a half and we got the power-up bands. We're going to get to run around and do all of this. As we're coming off Mario Kart, they start shutting it down.
They're
trying to like isolate the
They literally start like cutting off the mini games, and they cut off entrances to the rolling closure. And then by the time, and we're yabbing with our tour guide who was amazing. And by the time we look up, there's literally like an army of cast members looking at us like, please leave.
I think it is a capacity thing. I think Nintendo World and Hollywood in particular.
But we found out that Nintendo World was going to be open that night during Halloween Horror Nights, but it was only till like 10 p.m.
It was like a 2-hour window. Like they close it and they kick everyone out.
And we didn't.
And then they reopen it.
Because Halloween Horror
like
Nights goes till 2 a.m. And we got there at like 10:26. And I was like,
just missed it
oh my. And that's why Kaylee and I took this picture in front of the ropes. Because we had just missed going back. So
they were happy to let you take photos.
Yeah, that was not an issue. But
it was a blow. I'm sure it's not going to be our last time at Universal Hollywood. I'm sure it's not. So I'm not like devastated.
We'll come back and.
Wait, I'm not going to rebuy bands for
next
time.
I'm just saying like we got the band, so we can go right there and start having fun.
Do feel like this was the one thing about the day that I was like, really?
If we had
everything else like was kind of our fault. Like us showing up late, like we missed a little bit of breakfast. That was on us. Yeah. But the day we had was fantastic. Our tour was fantastic. Our tour guide was fantastic. Everything that we did and saw and accomplished was amazing and incredible. We'll talk about Halloween Horror Nights in a second, but just like the whole experience, I would do everything the same way, save for leaving a little more time in the morning, and also trying to prioritize
trying
Mario.
To get back to Nintendo by like maybe 9 o'clock so that we could have like an hour there to play around.
But this is something that like it doesn't. I think it might tell you in the app if you're in the park, but it doesn't really tell you in advance that like Nintendo World's going to close at 5, or Nintendo World's going to close at 6, or it's going to be reopen but only from 7 to 9. Like it's a weird capacity constrained area of the park. So if you want to do Nintendo World, start asking questions the minute you get there. Yeah. Is what I would say.
I think you can, because the tour we don't check in until 10. Isn't there like a ticket? Isn't there a ticket option where you can get like early entry into Nintendo World?
You can get there at the crack of dawn and do Nintendo World.
Yeah. So maybe if you like want to prioritize.
But to do that, we would have had to get up at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, it would have been. But maybe like do the early entry. You can do the tour and then come back. It would have, if we were just there for Hollywood Studios, Lord. If we were just there for Universal Hollywood and there was no Halloween Horror Nights, it would have been no problem.
Yeah.
The main issue was we had Halloween Horror Nights to do. So.
Well, also they would have kicked this out before Halloween Horror Nights. So if we hadn't are you saying if we'd gone on a non-Halloween Horror Nights day?
Yeah, and the park was just open normal hours. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, that would have. I think it probably still would close earlier than the rest of the park.
It might, but it wouldn't have closed at 5.
No, it was an early closure because Halloween Horror Nights needed to start at 5:30, and then they opened it later. I guess when the congestion. Because the houses that open early for early entry. I mean, let's move on to Halloween Horror Nights because we got plenty to talk about Halloween Horror Nights same day. So like. The houses that open early for early entry, which is... Go ahead, Kaylee.
No, I'm sorry. I was muted still. Oh, can y'all hear me okay, by the way? I had to switch AirPods. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Very well.
It always wants to send the audio to my AirPod and make me sound funny. Okay. Really quickly, that photo that was on the last slide of me and Katie outside of Nintendo World is one of my favorites. I just want to say it's so cute.
And especially since we were like, it was like 10:30, 11, and we were like already so tired, and we're like, kick up the feet. Look cute.
I know. I was also, it just like, it's exciting just to be there, even though it closed and that was like so sad. Even just sitting out there and getting to see the little rainbow tunnel and it still had like a nice vibe. And it was I don't know. I'm very nostalgic for like Mario Kart and stuff.
Don't throw away your Peach Band. We're going back.
I will keep it forever.
So with Halloween Horror Nights, we had, all right, so there's different ticket classes, right? It's the same as Halloween Horror Nights Orlando if you've ever been, and most people I think on this watching probably will have been. But Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, same general event structure, slightly different ticket tiers. Their early entry, which is the equivalent of Stay and Scream, starts at 5:30. So it's an hour and a half before the actual event starts. And the only houses that are open during early entry are at the lower lot. However, because we were in the lower lot at 5 o'clock, and we were like, we can go and get our bands and we can enter, but we have to go back to the upper lot to get our bands. So why don't we just, kick it here with our tour guide actually stuck around for a bit and time with us. He's the best in the world.
That's the real one.
We went back. We had to go back up to the upper lot to get our bands, and then we were going to have to come all the way back. And so we were like, maybe we just use early entry to get in longer lines. There's 3 different lots.
Well, like Matt actually suggested, he said not lower lot. He said do upper lot first and work your way down.
And to be clear, not even upper lot specifically, but the 2 houses F lot is what it was called. Like the ones that are off site almost.
Yeah.
You have to walk all the way. You have to go from the upper lot all the way down a different non-lower lot hill to an area backstage where they have 2 houses. And the 2 houses were Ghostbusters and Insidious. And he was right to say that those would be the lines that would back up because they were. But as it happened, we were able to do Ghostbusters twice and Insidious once before the real line.
It was a hike back there, and I was like, before we did Ghostbusters the second time, I said, I know we have Express and we could get in it again if we wanted to, because the first time we did it, there was no line and we didn't need to use the Express. I was like, but I don't think we're coming back here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're going to be too tired. There's no way we're going to make this hike again. And we didn't have to. So that was actually a good idea. So if you don't have the early entry and you're not going to go down if you're not coming to Halloween Horror Nights to do the early entry and hit the lower lot first, definitely would hit, what would you say, M lot?
F lot.
F lot. Yeah, definitely would hit those and kind of work your way down. So we did that. And then we did the upper lot ones, and then we did lower lot, and I think that was how we didn't return back to lower lot again. We cleaned up lower lot and then didn't come back. If you have never been there, lower lot is like you have to take like 3 huge escalators to get down there. It's like a process.
I like the ride though. I like you going from upper lot to lower lot. In particular, you get some great views of the valley.
But yeah, it is a bit of a hike. So I think it makes sense to kind of like clean up in the area, that especially for like the F lot and the lower lot. And then, if you're on the upper lot, you can hang out there and navigate it pretty easily.
Most of what we did this whole day, the way we did it, I don't regret. I think it all worked out pretty well but the problem is, like, looking back on it, there were certain windows between experiences that were very tight.
Mm-hmm.
So like going from the tour ending to early entry for Halloween Horror Nights, it was only like $10 to add early entry to your Halloween Horror Nights ticket. So if you don't do it, I think you're a lunatic. But if you're going from a tour that ends at 5 in the lower lot to a pickup of a band at 5:30 in the upper lot, you don't have much time to really get the most out of those experiences. So I think we probably did pack it too tightly this whole day. I loved everything we did though. I don't regret doing it. I just wouldn't do it necessarily the same way the second time.
Yeah. And the other
Dark Knight's hoodie, Tim.
Yep.
I was full Dark Knights that evening.
I do think that and this was definitely probably our longest park day too. We were very, very
we were
tired.
in a park for
we
almost
were there
hours,
till pretty much Halloween Horror Nights closed at 2 a.m.
Our pickup was at 2:15 in the morning.
Yep.
And was we were glad to have it.
We went to the wrong garage first too, and we had to hike it all the way back, which was not super fun, but also not in the vlog, so we would never know that.
Yeah.
By the time we got into our car, which thank goodness was a nice car, comfortable, great driver.
I'm saying executive
it was
car came in clutch.
The only thing that would have made it any better is if we had that one Lyft driver we had in Disneyland that one time. We had
who played the closing fanfare.
He had a little foot massager in his car. That was the only thing that would make this better. But yeah, it was still really fun. I feel like the transition from daytime to nighttime was a little bit rough, but thanks to Matt, it was a lot smoother than it could.
Yeah, we had someone to point us in the right direction.
Yeah,
which was great, and that's the VIP experience. But also, that's just Matt.
And
Matt
I think having the Express was good because we weren't standing in the long lines. It was a weeknight. It was a Thursday, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it wasn't as busy as it could have been, but there was still plenty of people.
We did
there.
all 8 houses, and 3 of them we did twice.
Yeah.
So, and we did have express, like Katie said. So like we were not. I mean, our vlog is out now, so you can. This is one experience where we have it well documented, and you can see everything right now. But the overall experience, I think, was possible only by the ticket combination and the date that we went. And I think the only thing we missed that was an event offering was the Purge Water Show.
Yes.
And as much as I think we were all kind of interested in seeing that, we had already seen Waterworld that day as part of our VIP tour. And we were like, is it really going to be like that wowie crazy cool that we're going to skip like the Terror Tram to see it again? You know?
It probably was pretty wowie crazy cool, but
I'm sure it's good. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's like,
show.
I'm not saying that it's not good, but we had seen a version of that show earlier the same day. So we had kind of been like, if we have to kill something, this is the thing.
I think if we were going to redo it again, I don't know. I almost like kind of want to do VIP tour again, but not have something else to get to that
I know.
evening.
I thought the same thing, and the only thing is that if you're not staying, it might be like we have to do a split stay to make it worth it. Because if you have to come all the way back again.
Like maybe we do or Universal on the back end so that we come back, and then Universal is a little bit closer to LAX too. So it makes sense. You can just get away with like I don't know, a two-nighter at the Hilton.
See, guys, we're already planning our next trip.
Yeah. I did like that hotel.
Yeah,
we all like that hotel.
Nice hotel.
The VIP tour a day, and then like do like if you're going during Halloween Horror Nights, then like Halloween Horror Nights. If we're not going, if we go back and it's not Halloween Horror Nights time, then definitely just VIP tour.
Yes,
that was rad.
It'll be a while before we go back during Halloween time again, but I would be down to do it.
Yeah. If we're going back, and it is Halloween Horror Nights, then I might suggest we're gonna go and do Halloween Horror Nights or whatever. Yeah. And then
the other thing is that no matter what time you set your VIP tour for, I don't think you can do Halloween Horror Nights until 2 a.m. and then go back for a VIP tour the next morning. Yeah, that's gonna be the rate my body is aging.
Yeah,
there's no way. But if you do it the other way around, where you do the VIP tour and then you go to sleep and then you do Halloween Horror Nights and then you have like a 4 p.m. flight the next day, like I think that's
a good way to get. Yeah.
The only other thing about Halloween Horror Nights that I wanted to point out, because I really don't think we did a great job of documenting it, was the Terror Tram.
I definitely did not document it. I was trying to survive.
Kaylee survived the Terror Tram.
I was like, I can't film this. I can't. Like, I gotta just go.
I knew that it was they're going to dump you out and have you walk a little bit, but I didn't realize that it was going to be like such a ceremony getting off the tram. So like when we parked, we had to get off and walk up the hill, and then at the top of the hill there was a sound cue for all of the Blumhouse monsters to come rushing forward at once with chainsaws. And I was like way at the back of the line and had no idea they were coming, so I missed it entirely.
Yeah,
but I was like, oh man, how cool! Like Megan and Freaky are both coming at me with a chainsaw at the same time. Meanwhile, Kaylee's in the back, like, I hate this.
No!
I was just trying to hide. Like I just like saw them because we were pretty far in the back, but I could just see them coming and I could hear the chainsaws, and I'm like, this is not good. And I was like, I don't know if I can film this. Like, I just gotta survive. And like literally all the footage and like when I watched y'all's vlog. Because I think I zoned out a little bit of like what was even happening. And I looked at it and literally me and Katie, I was just like,
yeah. I tried to shield her body from some of it.
She did.
Zoe.
She did some.
Hey Zoe.
Welcome. Hey. It's party.
Yeah, it's basically like it's very different from if you did the tram tour at the park that day.
It's the same tram.
It's a tram, but very different thing.
You also, obviously, the photo is from the Terror Tram. They have multiple different photo ops, and we took advantage of all of them. They're not in the vlog because you can't really video and photo op at the same time. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of different...
They were trying, like, there was a lot of interest in these photos that they had to, like, take your picture, move on, take your picture.
And the nice thing is
that's...
so the last terror tram leaves at 11, and for some strange reason I was like at 8 o'clock, I was like, oh my gosh, we got to do it because we always forget. And you know what, we might have, so I'm glad we did it. But we did a terror tram early enough that it was like when we were walking up on these photo ops, we saw a little line and we were like, oh, we got like time. 6 hours still. Like, so let's just go. Let's just do it. Let's make some memories. And I'm glad we did.
Instead of like the ride in the tram, you're basically dropped off, and then it's kind of an extended scare zone. Yep. All theme this time, all themed to Blumhouse characters and creatures and stuff. So that's why it was so traumatizing for some because it just kind of kept going, and you didn't really know what to expect. Like at some point it looked like scene vignettes, but then they would come up pretty close to you.
It's a combination of a scare zone and a house.
Yeah.
It's more of a trail than anything.
Yeah, it's kind of like a trail.
It's like Halloween Horror Nights trail. And it's a 5-minute tram ride to a 25-minute walkthrough experience. And then 5-minute tram ride back. So it's definitely worth it if you've never done it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really fun.
But very traumatizing for me.
Depends how you feel about chainsaws.
You do get to like walk through some areas that you wouldn't normally walk through, even on your tram.
Yep.
Like
it's cool.
The very famous like War of the Worlds plane crash scene.
Yeah.
You're walking through that. It's pretty cool.
In the vlog we released, it's the purge area.
Yeah.
So I don't know how easy it is to tell. It was kind of chaotic too, because like every time we thought we were safe and we're about to do like a soundbite, some scare actor would pop out of nowhere. So it's like, it's not a typical scare zone in that you can see the monsters like roaming a little bit away and they walk up on you. It's like they're hiding in the sides and corners.
They do have some hideaways they pop out of and stuff. So yeah, it's really like a trail.
Anyway.
Anywho.
On to lighter news.
More my speed.
Now I'm Mike Wazowski. Hold on. So we also did Oogie Boogie Bash, and we had a vibe, as you might be able to tell. I don't know how many Gravity Falls fans are in the audience tonight, but
at least two.
At least two. It was a good time.
Kaylee's a
I'm a fan.
Kaylee's a new fan. Well, she's not in the audience either. She's in
in the audience. Yeah, you did say audience.
Wow.
So Oogie Boogie Bash. Weirdly, there are surveys going out right now about a haunt experience as part of Oogie Boogie Bash for future years, a haunted house that you could walk through. As much as I would be for that, I think the vibe is very different at Oogie Boogie. It's not meant to be Halloween Horror Nights. It's meant to be, if anything, the brighter alternative to Horror Nights. But it's a very fun event, and I think it beats Mickey's Not So Scary on most levels.
Yeah.
And I say that from a perspective of someone who loves characters. So this event, more than anything else, is a character opportunity. It is an opportunity to come face to face with very rare Disney characters that might not be out any other time.
Yep.
The one pictured is not that rare. Cruz from Cars is a super cool character meet, but also like she's out and about.
All during Halloween, the Cars characters are in costumes.
Yeah, and she's out and about during the day. The ones that are specific to the event, you will only ever see at the event. So Oogie Boogie, Hades, I don't think is an event specific, but the interactive face character Hades is very much a specific character for the event. Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
Doofenshmirtz was new this year too.
Doofenshmirtz was new this year, and that was. I didn't know how to feel about it, but the actor was fantastic.
Yeah,
like, the cast member playing Doofenshmirtz, it was like it
when
made
they
it worth it
revealed the face character, it was kind of nightmarish. But then I got kind of used to it, and then seeing him in person, it was like, oh yeah, that's Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
You had a conversation.
Yeah.
I did. I asked him where Perry was,
and he goes, "Not here.
Obviously not here."
And it's funny, I ended up being Perry the Platypus later on.
I know. When I saw that, I was like, oh, that would have been cute
for your Halloween events. So, other characters, Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit,
Madame Mim.
Ernesto de la Cruz was the one we missed. Out of all the Treat
we
Shells,
saw him, but we didn't
saw him.
You have to prioritize towards the end of the night, like any after hours.
Sid from Toy Story, did you say, Kaylee?
Yes, gave us carrots.
Yes, that was funny.
That was
that is just such a Sid thing.
Who else did we see? Did I said Madam Mim?
He did not say
Agatha.
Agatha,
right?
Agatha.
Yeah, Agatha, and
that was a headliner.
And that was new this year too because the show had just started airing.
I believe those are all the big ones that we just mentioned.
So Kim saying we missed the best one.
We were across from there when we were across the street from him. So like we heard him singing.
We heard him singing, we saw him, we just didn't get like a close up because we opted.
So what we didn't realize, and we didn't watch enough vlogs to know this, and I'm sure it's been covered very well by our friends in the community, but what we did not realize attending the event for the first time was that to meet these characters, you have to go through the treat trails. And that's, where Kaylee was talking about, like, her childhood's awakened. Like, she takes a candy bag, and they give us candy every time we go through the lines.
Multiple times.
Yeah, a lot of candy.
A lot of candy. And, like, mini Rice Krispie treats.
Oh, the Rice Krispie treats.
Goldfish shaped like Mickey Mouse.
We still
had a really high
pizza
red ratio on Starbucks.
From Oogie Boogie Bash. Like, it's nuts. Yeah. But to meet these characters, like we're thinking of it as a character event. Like we have to meet these characters. We knew we weren't going to be able to like talk to them for the most part, although a lot of them did interact with us directly. Madam Mim recognized our costume.
Yeah, she was like, that was so cool. I was like, Madam Mim knows Gravity Falls? That's pretty cool.
Judge Doom was kind of cool too because there wasn't a long line.
Judge Doom had no line.
He was like,
I don't think anyone realized where he was.
And then he was like, so many of you dressed like two.
He was a good Christopher Lloyd.
He was scary.
We saw his facade is like the dip machine, and it's got like the shoe from Roger Rabbit that gets dipped.
Like,
and it's like shaking in the cage, and we're like, oh no, the shoe. And he goes, oh, don't waste your sympathy on tunes.
Yeah.
It'll all be, I'm hoping that Oogie Boogie Bash will be the other California vlog to come out before the official formal end of our haunt season. So it should be soon.
Yeah.
It's less to edit than most of the haunted house vlogs because there's not as many camera cuts. But we'll see, because it's still a lot. But this was an all around, like, if you're a lover of characters, this is a must do.
Yeah.
And if you're a lover of candy, this is the must do.
Yeah. You get candy. We had full bags of candy, and then we really wanted to do Guardians one more time, like at night, because Monsters After Dark was like the overlay, and we were all like, tie up the bags. We were trying to figure out like how to tie up the bags because we were just,
after we did all the treat trails.
We were just
all the like candy, this big around,
just like launching into.
They were stuffed.
Wise that may or may not have happened, but we didn't want it to happen. So we're like tying the bags and like hooking them to bags and all this stuff. It was so funny. Oh, we did the villains.
Oh, dude. Kim did 2 Oogie Boogie Bashes and left all her candy for the cast member.
If we did 2, we would. I don't know.
I think TSA must have a limit on how much food you can bring back.
I don't know. We did okay though.
I had to stuff it all in a lounge fly.
Yeah,
that's how I got it.
I had to buy one of my carry-ons broke on the way to Disneyland, so I had to get a new one and shoved it in there. What I was gonna say was the Villains Trail in Redwood Creek.
The Villains Grove.
Yeah, Villains Grove. That's something totally unique to Oogie Boogie. There's nothing like that at Mickey's Not So Scary.
And it's
so cool.
I think it's such an underrated experience too, because there's no characters in there, and there's not really any activities. You're just walking through, but it's a light show more than anything, and it's
atmospheric.
It's very atmospheric. It's the atmospheric experience, and I think it's so cool what they do. They basically are telling you a story using only light.
Yeah.
Like without any additional I mean, they have music, but they don't have like a narrator or anything. They just
you'll hear like an evil laugh or something.
It's all lights and timing and LED like bounce backs and projection mapping. And it's imagine a Disney fireworks show without the fireworks, and it sounds really boring. But if you think about what Disney is capable of, I'm hoping we got enough footage to accurately kind of showcase what this
cool.
is, because it's such a cool experience.
I enjoyed that.
I don't know if it's gonna stay, to be honest, because
Kaylee had an interesting experience.
Oh yeah,
I did. Yes. So we are there. We're at the beginning of the Villains Trail, and I believe, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, we went during like something was going on, like the
I think it may have been the first parade.
The first parade. We went and it was like pretty dead in there. There was a lot of people, like there was not a lot of people at all. And we were at like kind of the beginning, and these guys were like, hey, like we love your costumes and all this stuff. And I turn around and these guys are with Melissa and Holly from Dance Moms. And which Tim and Katie, like I think y'all knew who I was talking about, kind of like you knew the show.
We knew. I knew the show Dance Moms. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea who they are.
But I like looked at them and I was like, what? Because I've seen every single episode of that show. I grew up watching that show. And I was like trying to be kind of cool. And I was filming at the time and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got Melissa and Holly in my vlog from Dance Moms. I was having a moment, but then I didn't want to like go up to them and say anything because I feel like that's kind of weird, and like I didn't want to ruin their experience, so like I didn't go say anything to them. I was gonna wait till the end, but then they were going way too fast, and that was fine. I definitely like didn't want to like make it awkward by making them feel like at the very beginning of a trail, oh, there's people that know who we are in here, because I think they were trying to go purposely at that time because there was less people. So it was really cool though. It kind of made my night, because I always like last time we went, I did meet some like YouTube celebrities, but I'd never met like an actual celebrity. And so like getting to like hear them talk, and like actually I think the guys who said something to us were part of their family. So it was like really cool to just like get to be that close to them and like see them. And yeah, anyways, so if Melissa and Holly ever watch this, which you never are, hi. Thanks for running into us.
I feel like they probably would have been gracious, but I think you may have made the right call in terms of approaching them. So
I didn't want to make them feel weird. So
it was cute though, because I know on the way, I think we were, I can't remember if it was before the plane or if when we were in the car. No, I think it was before we got on the plane. You were like, I want to like see the Hollywood sign, as in like see it. I have to be like near it. I want to see the Hollywood sign, and I'd love to have like a celebrity close encounter. And we did. We did view the Hollywood sign twice, actually.
From the plane, and then on the way to Hollywood.
From the plane and from the car. And you got your celebrity sighting, close encounter.
It was a good one too. Like for it to be someone, it would have been cool to see anyone.
Yeah. That was what was important. It was like meaningful for you, because it was something you watched. Like if those people would have walked past me, and I would have not known who they were. Right.
Which is kind of weird, because I'm sure like we actually probably did run into more celebrities that we just had no idea who they were. But yeah, for them, like I mean, I watched them. That show went on for like 8 seasons, and it was on when I was in high school. Like I watched it for years and years. So it was just really like so cool to see someone that was on TV that I grew up watching. And yeah. So anyways, it was just a cool moment. So.
It was cool.
It's fun.
I also had a fangirl moment, but I'm going to save it for the next bit. Okay. Zoe says, I stayed at a hotel across where you can supposedly see the Hollywood sign. She's still never seen it.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, Zoe, I feel your pain, because the first time we went, I wanted to see it so bad. And we flew in at Knott, so we didn't see it from the plane. And then, so we're going on the plane this time. And I was pretty sure it was it, but I was like, you know what? Like, it was so blurry. But I'm like, that's it. That's got to be it, right? You know, like you're just convincing yourself. We're in the car going to Universal Hollywood, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is that it? And I was freaking out, and I also felt that way, Zoe. I did. I was like, is it real? Where is this Hollywood sign?
It's just made up.
It seem like you're gonna see it every time you go, but it's like so elusive. But anyways, I made Tim get a picture of it for me. He's like, it's not really that good of a picture, but
it's really not. It's like from any angle, it's just the whole world is.
But it was the sign. Yeah,
I think
it's out there, Zoe.
Trip, like maybe. I don't know. I say this, and then we're gonna wind up just spending so much time at Disneyland again that it doesn't matter. But like, it would be fun to be like stupid. Like
LA tourists
for a day too. Like the last trip we went to the studio tour in Burbank, and that was really cool.
So but
we didn't really go into like proper Los Angeles at all. And I feel like at some point, for as often as we fly to LAX, like it feels weird that we've never set foot in LA proper.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
You could go up to and the Hollywood sign's not even part of.
Yeah, you
LA.
can't like
You
can't
can't.
like walk up
All
to
those movies where it's like people up at the Hollywood sign, that's not even allowed. Like you can't do that.
Yeah.
So
Canceled it the other day just because Zoe or like
you're gonna see it,
maybe
Zoe.
next
You
Thursday.
are. I believe it for you. I believe you are because I never thought it would happen for me, and it did. And I was like, "This is amazing." So it's gonna happen for you. It is. You're gonna see it one day. It's real.
It's real. It does exist.
It does.
Dry land does exist. Okay.
Let me get my list.
Yeah, I know you've got a whole thing. Like we need to save a couple minutes here for this. So I knew that this was going to be a long one, and we were just going to probably like yammer. There it is. Decided to go to Aruba instead.
Well, there's no Hollywood sign there.
Well,
That's
you
fair.
know, like that happens to me all the time too. I'm just like, am I going to go to Mexico this week, or am I going to go to Jamaica? I don't know. Anyway, okay. So, favorite moments from each adventure, and I've kind of portioned out each adventure into categories, so it's not like by day, it's by like what
this was supposed to be favorite moments from each adventure? Oh dear.
No, you did that. Like
No.
It was what, like park ride?
You don't
Like,
listen
are we
to
doing
what
it like
I'm
that?
saying.
Oh, okay.
When I say adventure, I mean like the type of adventure.
Oh,
not the,
okay. I was like, oh, and I didn't
No, I
prepare.
told you what to do and you did it. I can
did
see
it.
it on your list.
Okay, I did. I prepared. I
So-
did my homework.
Parks
Aw.
Adventures.
That's
This is for Disneyland, DCA, Knott's Berry Farm or Knott's Spooky Farm, and I guess Hollywood Horror Nights could count, but we have a separate category for events. So Universal Studios. Favorite moments, y'all.
Oh, favorite See, I read this as favorite park, and I was like, well, Disneyland, and then.
Oh, well, then you did do it wrong.
I did the first one wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, Kaylee can start. If
Yeah,
I can start.
has
So I
more than
have
that.
two. I have two that were not already before mentioned because I've already mentioned several of them. So the first, I will say, just based on the picture you chose, which is the photo pass. I love photo pass.
This is my favorite picture from the trip, by the way.
It is so cute. And if you guys, and that was actually a photo pass photographer that we like hunted down. Cause like, okay, if you ever go with me to Disney, I like sniff out the photo pass photographers. I'm always on the lookout. I love them. I do not like to
run and hide in terror when
I love them. No, my grandmother, when we went to Disney a few years ago, she literally started telling them that it was elder abuse because I was making her take so many photos because I kept seeing them everywhere. And she's like, Kaylee, no, not another photo. I was like,
you will smile. You like it.
Yes. I was like, we are paying money for this. I want memories. Go get in the photo. So I love photo pass. It makes me so happy. So we got a lot of good photo pass moments there. But another favorite moment that I have that I remember that is it's funny that it turned into a favorite moment, but when we did Grizzly River Run.
No.
So we did it on a cold day. It was a really cold day. And Tim actually got relatively spared. Me and Katie got
we were not spared.
Wet. We got soaking wet. And it doesn't sound like that would be a good moment. But what was funny is me and Katie were like, we got to go get new clothes.
Yeah, we had to buy like a whole new outfit. And we both looked so cute at the beginning.
We did. Well, me and Katie ended up buying matching sweatpants. They were like different colors, but then matching. And she got a cute little shirt, and I got a cute little shirt. I mean, we got a whole new outfit.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how far this story is going. Is this the end of the story?
Well, that's the end of the story.
Okay.
Oh.
I know where you're going. We're not going to go. I don't think we should talk about that on the internet. But, but let's just leave it at that. Katie and I, moral of the story.
We got matching sweatpants.
Katie and I were very matching.
Not every piece of clothing was salvageable.
We were matching in many ways that day.
That was a good moment.
I will say.
That was
Once I took off my wet pants, it was a good moment.
That was an upsettingly poorly weathered morning.
Yeah.
For what we had planned that day, like every other day had
Yeah,
been
every
sunny and
other day,
beautiful.
like the sun eventually came out and it warmed up. That was the one day it stayed like cold.
You guys were
Yeah.
soaking wet for about 2 hours before you cracked. and
Yeah.
went to
I know.
vomit.
Well,
That's
Katie,
the lion's
thank goodness Katie cracked. I think I would have made it maybe 30 more minutes before I cracked because I just did not want to say anything.
No,
but
once one of you cracked,
I need new pants. They're like, I need new pants too. Let's go.
Like, I got it.
I hate to be that person. That's like I really like don't like it. But I was close. I was this close. I was gonna have to say something.
Yeah, you don't like to be like the one that's like, we're gonna take us off track because we gotta go shopping for new pants. Yeah.
I was close. I was about to. So I'm grateful because when she did, I was like, yeah, let's go.
Yep.
I'm down.
Do you have a favorite parks moment? Have you thought of a?
Have I thought? Well, I think Kaylee's got another one that's.
Oh, I thought that was two. Did you not do?
No, yeah, that I mean, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Down.
I definitely agree that like anytime most of the times we did like a cool photo pass moment. Those pictures in front of Alice in Wonderland were just came out super cute.
They did.
One
more time.
It is a cute photo.
It is a cute photo. Okay.
Gosh, do you have? I gotta keep. There's just so many swimming in my.
We have a separate category for rides, but I do want to say like my favorite parks thing. So on our last day when we weren't vlogging, we had Genie. Well, we bought when it was Genie Plus, and it became MultiPass by the time we got there. But when we did our last day, we had MultiPass, and I don't know if anyone who's not been to Disneyland knows this, but if you've been to Disney World and you have the MultiPass or what used to be Genie Plus, there's a lot of rides in each park that are on that system. At Disneyland, more so than DCA, there's a lot of rides that aren't on that system. Yeah. So a lot of the time, no matter what you do, you're going to be waiting out the standard queue if you want to do certain attractions. And only other attractions are on the MultiPass system or the paid platform where you can jump the line. So on our last day, we're determined to stay until close. We have the MultiPass, but we start late because we're tired from not just like the previous day, but like this is, day probably 12 or 13 of a long trip. And we're getting a later start. We know we're not vlogging, so like we don't have to look like super pretty, but I can't let myself out of the house until I've at least showered. So we get a later start. We don't get to use really like the early entry perk or anything. We go to DCA, we go back to Disneyland, and MultiPass is being a problem because it's a busier, I think it was a Sunday that we did our last day, right? So there's a whole bunch of locals that are there for the day. There's a lot of out-of-towners who start their trips on Sunday, and the MultiPasses were being booked up quickly. So I started like thinking like maybe the move is not to do like a rolling pass. Maybe the move is we book an attraction that we know we want to do like 3 hours in advance. And then we go and we do whatever we can get on for the next 3 hours. And then when we hit our next one, then we book another 3 hours in advance. So that's what we did. And I can't remember what it was that we booked first. I think it was something like, it wasn't Matterhorn because I know we only did that once. But we booked our first attraction 3 hours out. We went and we did it. And then we got a second pass. And that one I booked Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, as many of you will know, even if you've never set foot in Disneyland,
goes down a lot.
Notoriously fickle attraction. It goes down probably more often than Rise of Resistance, and that's saying something. But it is I think at least Katie's favorite ride. It's my probably second favorite ride at Disneyland. I think Kaylee is of the Star Wars.
It's up there. It's probably my top 3. Yeah.
So we're all like, we got to do it. It's our last day. We book it. It comes up on our time. It goes down. But what happens when you have a window for the MultiPass and a ride goes down is that it becomes a multiple experiences pass.
Yes.
And so we're looking at it and we're like, oh, the world is our oyster now, because when you have a multiple experiences pass, you can just walk up on anything. you don't have to have a time slot for it. You can just walk up on anything. And some of those rides had been sold out like all day in terms of like the booking availability. Like Space Mountain, which Katie and I, that is my top attraction in Disneyland proper. It's very different from the Magic Kingdom attraction in many different ways. I know, Kaylee, you hate it.
Kaylee.
It's like at the bottom.
But Kaylee still got to use her multiple experiences pass on something else while we went to Space Mountain. You did Astro Blasters.
Buzz Lightyear.
I
did. I did do Space Mountain, but this was the second time.
You did Space Mountain once. Yes, just
okay. I was gonna say, I know I did Space Mountain once on this trip, but you're right. Yeah.
So my favorite parks memory, although it is more ride specific, but I have a different one for the rides category, is that like on that last day when we got that multiple experiences pass, that was the beginning of a most magnificent and beautiful chain where we did fireworks. And then we did Space Mountain, which was already like had like a 75-minute wait, but we basically got to walk on, Katie and I, with the multiple experiences pass. Then we went and did Toontown, and we did Runaway Railway, and Roger Rabbit, and the little Gadgets Go Coaster. And then we went to Adventureland, and we got like the little kebabs at like 12:15 a.m. in the morning. It was the only thing that still had food, and we got them.
We also met Mickey and Minnie in there.
Yes, we met Mickey and Minnie. Then we did Jungle Cruise, and then at the with 50 seconds left on the clock, we got in line for Indiana Jones as it came back online, and we got our own car on Indiana Jones.
Yep.
Our own truck on one of the most popular rides in Disneyland, and we were the last ones through. And because of that, we were just like ruckus and rebellious all the way down there. Like we were screaming and laughing. It was a ton of fun. So that was a multiple experiences.
It was a powerful 2 hours last. We did definitely.
It was started with fireworks, and then it just everything after that.
Like we did everything after fireworks.
So we had a very slow morning that day and a long waits at some rides for the afternoon, but the end of the day, we did more with those 2 hours than I think we did the entire trip.
Guys, I misinterpreted. I don't know why I didn't read favorite moments when Tim sent this, but you guys you mentioned honestly a lot of good ones.
Just know there's a different category for characters.
This is not park, but it's trip related and it hasn't been brought up yet. I think meeting is it JC at Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah.
One of the artists. So there's artists at different stations throughout the park through Disneyland, and they are drawing Disney characters. They have a certain selection that they can draw, and we got to talk several times for a very long time with one of the artists at the Disneyland Hotel. So I enjoyed that moment with that cast member. We talked about everything from parks we like to what's different about Walt Disney World to Doctor Who to a lot of
we did stuff. Close down the Disneyland Hotel gift shop twice. JC, and that was
so that is a non-parks related thing, but that is a specific memory that hasn't
cast members in general were
hasn't been brought up yet.
But there were certain cast members that we did spend a lot longer talking to. That was great. Now we can do rides, guys. Rides memories. Kaylee?
Oh, okay. I can start first.
You're usually more prepared.
I tried. When you told me the categories, I was like, I will be prepared.
I gave you 72 hours and you crushed it.
You did. Okay, first off, I just want to say I'm proud of myself for doing several of the rides that I did not originally know if I was going to do. The Monsters After Dark, that one was a last minute decision that I was going to do it. Glad I did. It went better. I don't think I was too sick getting off that one either. I was really nervous. But that one went well. I did better on Harry Potter, The Forbidden Journey, which...
Yeah, I was not sure you should have done that one, but you did it anyway.
Well, so Tim has better memory than me, and he's like, Kaylee, you said you were never going to do this ride again.
Yeah.
I was like, did I? And then once he said it, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I actually did.
Kaylee, I don't even need to have remembered it. It's in your vlog.
I know, you're right. You were totally... once you said it, I'm like, you know what? You're right. But Harry Potter, I'm glad I did it. I didn't get wrecked on that one. It is awful, Kim. It wrecked me the very first time I rode it, and then they've changed a little bit. It's better. last time I rode it like 2 years ago, I was like, never again. And then I came back and I was like, it's been 2 years, you know.
Certainly
I did
my
it
body is
again.
better and not worse.
And that one, I would probably do that one again. Now I did do Space Mountain again. Never again. Pretty sure. 90% sure. But yeah, so the other ones I had on here, really there's 3. I'm sorry, I'll keep it brief though. Mario Kart was so cool to do. That's a highlight because I grew up playing Mario Kart. I played it since I was a kid. It was really cool to ride the ride at Universal Hollywood. So that was such a highlight.
We
did play it before we left.
Yeah, we did. I love it. I love Mario Kart. So that was really cool. Also, kind of talking, like, I think was it our last day where we were kind of talking about, like, what do you guys want to do? Like, what are our must-dos before we leave? And I threw out something. I was like, this is never going to happen, but I would love to do Haunted Mansion again with the overlay.
Oh, yeah.
We did. Yeah. We got And it was like the middle of the day. It was like the 12 o'clock drop or whatever. And Tim was like, I just got it. And I was like, this is wild, because I almost didn't even say anything because I'm like, it's not going to happen. And I told them, I was like, it's okay. Like, I would love to do it again, but it's not going to happen. And then we did. So that was awesome.
You need to throw out the context.
Yeah, context for that.
Yes.
So in previous years, the Haunted Mansion holiday overlay at Haunted Mansion in Disneyland has been open for standard queue and for just walking up and doing it. That's the same thing. Sorry, standard queue and multipass. It's on that system. But this year, because they're doing construction on the queue and they have much less capacity in storage space, it was virtual queue only. And the virtual queue, if you don't know, it only works with your starting park. So if you're not booked at Disneyland as your starting park, even with Park Hopper, you wind up not being able to enter that queue when it opens at 7 o'clock. So DCA was our starting park for the last day, and we knew that, and we had the option to change it several days before, but we were like, no, there's some other stuff we want to do. So we stuck with it. And then, like, the night before, Kaylee was like, I would really want to do the Haunted Mansion again, but I don't even
think it's the night before. I think it was like day of.
It was also day of, but I remember you saying
maybe I did say it night before.
I was like, it's too late.
Maybe I just thought y'all didn't hear me night before because we were just kind of talking. But I remember saying it day of and thinking, this is crazy. It's not going to happen.
So the previous days that we had been in the parks, up until that, they had only dropped virtual queues at 7 a.m. Only that one time. But the last day when we were there, the last day at Disneyland, for some strange, unfathomable reason, they opened a second virtual queue at 1 o'clock. And I happened to be in there at like 12:57, and I happened to pull it down and refresh, and it was like, you can enter the queue at 12:57 or at 1 o'clock in 3 minutes. And I was like, excuse me, what? And we got it. So that was, and Pirates of the Caribbean, like walk on both.
That was clutched.
Okay.
My very last one I have on here. I feel like you guys know what this one's gonna be.
I know what this is. It's probably
this one's another one that I mean, this was a last minute decision. Like, I was at the ride boarding and I was still like, am I doing this? And it was Mickey's Death Wheel. And I was really nervous.
Pixar's pal around, as probably Disney
Swinging.
would prefer you.
I don't care what Disney wants.
Call it
Mickey's Death Wheel.
But yeah, like, I was pretty confident in getting in the line originally, and then as we're going, I'm getting more and more anxious, and I'm like, I don't know. And really, to be completely honest with you guys, I was really anxious because I was thinking, if I throw up on this, it's going to be so disgusting. It's going to be on everyone. And I was really nervous. And I was thinking, like, what would I throw up in? All this stuff, which, spoiler alert, they have a bag on there. So, I was like, Tim and Katie, I think they really thought I was not going to do it. They were like, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. And we're like about to get on it. I'm like, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get on it.
Kaylee, you don't understand. I was telling you it was totally fine because I wanted you not to do it.
I know you wanted me not.
You would power through and then.
I know. I think I really could tell. Like, I could tell. Like, well, Katie was kind of like in the middle. I could tell. I was like, Tim does think this is a bad idea. Like, Tim thinks this is a terrible idea. And I just really was like, I feel like I can do it. And then as soon as I saw that barf bag, I was like, guys, it's gonna be okay.
It was like that experience.
I
Yes!
was not even
felt so much better.
remotely aware that they had barf bag. Like I have always known that
Well,
like
it was so funny
Mission
because
Space was the only
we-
barf bag at Disney. Like that's what I
we
thought.
were planning to get on and like stagger sit, but they had us all sit across, and then they had a mom and her like young daughter, like
Yeah.
not like toddler,
They,
probably like
they
9
dual
years
loaded
old.
with ADA. So like somebody entered from, they hadn't been loading from both sides, but somebody entered from the back
Yeah.
side as part of an ADA group that had overflowed into another cabin.
Yeah, so they were there, and they were across from us, and we didn't notice. And the girl, that little girl, was the best. But I think she was the one who was like, or maybe it was the mom who were like, they have these barf bags, and Kaylee's like, give me one. We need it.
Yeah.
It
I
was
needed it.
terrifying. It was
Oh,
definitely,
yeah.
I think, a one and done for all of us. But I think we were all glad we did it.
I don't know. Now that I know what to expect, it's kind of like Colossal Curl, where like in the moment I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. But
even-
then afterwards I'm like, I didn't die, so I think
But
I'm
I felt sick enough after that. I was like, you know,
I never felt sick. I always felt like there are moments in an overloaded car or gondola, I guess. There's moments on that swinging bucket where for a very brief
you think
minute
you're gonna die.
you are parallel to the ground below. On Mickey's Ferris wheel, you are swinging that dramatically that you are staring down at the lagoon. And I'm like, in those moments, I understand physics. Like, you're not going to fall out and die. But in those moments, it's kind of like the world's worst pirate
All right.
ship. Where
So
I'm
you
like,
were
"Ah!"
you were terrified. Kaylee was.
I was just trying not to throw up. I was fine with the heights and like looking down. I just literally, you will see it in the video. I keep saying, I want to swing. I'm swinging. This is so fun. I love to swing. Like, I'm just telling my brain, we're on a swing. This is the same thing as a swing. I love swings. I used to
But
do
then
swings all the time.
what made it so much more tolerable for you, Kaylee, was me melting
Tim
down.
freaking out.
It did. Like Tim.
I got on
was-
thinking this is going to be weird but fun. And then I got off thinking, like, oh, praise God, the ground.
Yeah.
At some
Tim, I
point,
thought
I was like,
Tim
he
was
really
freaking-
needs to stop putting this on for the vlog because it's not. If I'm no longer
Not-
entertained, and he was
not
like,
the
I
slightest
wasn't putting it on. I was genuinely terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like dying laughing. Like in the middle, I'm like laughing so hard because Tim's over there like, ah.
I
I'm
don't
just
think I've ever heard Tim scream that loud.
Because I also thought you were like putting on. I did for a second. I was like, oh, he's just having
a
fun
little
with it.
outdated, but I gotta turn over my man card. After that. That was
Yeah.
that was also my top ride memory, even though it was absolutely terrifying. It was
Yeah.
it was the thing that I think we all got off laughing and
Yeah.
did. Like that was definitely an experience.
The best was that little girl that was sitting across from us.
Yeah.
And we're like stopped at one point. She turns around. She's like, nobody's thrown up yet.
They had
they had another. Yeah, they had
stationary
family.
ones,
Yeah.
and we could see them every once in a while, and they could talk to each other. And they're like, "How you guys doing?" And the little girl's like, "No one's thrown up yet."
I know. I felt so there was a lot of
Really hurt.
pressure though. Like us going in there, like I already didn't want to throw up, but then there was all this pressure of this mom and this little girl, and I'm like, Kaylee, you cannot throw up. You
Well, at
cannot
some
do
point-
this.
I was like, Tim, you are scaring the child, and I was trying to get him to reel it in.
I don't think I was scaring the child. Though.
I don't
the
think
child
you
had.
were. I think she had.
I think the child had more fortitude than I had.
She
What's
did.
your favorite ride memory?
Oh, I interpreted this as favorite ride you did during the trip, and not just like I love Indiana Jones as my favorite ride in Disneyland, but I wrote down the VIP tram tour, if that counts as a ride.
I think so because that was I mean, that's definitely the most memorable.
The tram tour on the VIP. If you're doing the VIP tour, it's different. You still do the cool demonstrations and the practical effects, and you, if anything, get a little bit even more info about them. But you also get like a mini version of like a Universal Studios tour. You get to get off the tram and walk around sets. You get more of like what we did at the Warner Brothers tour that we did. We went into a room that had props that people can rent, productions can rent. There was some areas we weren't, permitted to film and stuff like that, but Tim did capture a lot of it. So I thought,
whoa, Tim did not capture areas where we weren't allowed to film.
Tim captured a lot of what
all
we
the
were
stuff where they
allowed
told
to
me
film.
it's okay to film.
Correct.
Just to be
that
clear.
sounded weird. But I really,
we weren't allowed to film, but Tim did it anyway. No.
There's this one part where we found out there's a very famous scene from Pirates of the Caribbean, and we got to take pictures there. Kaylee and I were freaking out about a scene from Princess Diaries 2. And we were like, oh my gosh, it is here. That's so cool. This is This is that run road in Genovia. So it was that whole tram tour was really, really cool. So if you're still need to be convinced to do a VIP tour at Hollywood, the tram tour itself was worth it.
If you're, we can continue harping on VIP all day, but the experience, if you're going to wind up paying for Express anyway to get the most out of your day, the VIP experience is another maybe $80 per person. Yeah. And at that point, it's so worth it because you're gonna spend more than that on food,
and you get breakfast and lunch.
If you're gonna spend more than that on food over the course of the day, it's stupid not to fun. Yeah, at a certain point. Now, if you're there for if you're a local and you're there for multiple days, it doesn't matter.
Or if your whole trip is to go to Universal Hollywood and you're there for multiple days, then don't bother.
Or if you're not going to do Express, Express is what made the difference for us. Yeah. That was the ticket.
But that was one of my favorite rides, and there were just many just good moments on the VIP
I think that's
tram
very
tour. Fair. I do love the Mickey's Death Row memories are great.
That vlog will be interesting. Yeah. That vlog will not drop probably until January, but it will be interesting.
We would have thought that would have been a favorite moment, though, for real, before we went on it.
It was memorable.
It was great.
Memorable moments. It's kind of like a near-death experience that you all share together. You all look back on it wow, good times.
I think I still have the barf bag. It's I'm going to keep this.
We might need this.
So just before we move on, I will say that over the course of all 4 parks, we have 36 rides from Disneyland, 15 rides from DCA. I didn't count up Knott's Berry Farm. I think we're sitting somewhere over 65, close to 70 attractions. We cleaned house on rides.
We did a lot.
I'll say that.
We did a lot.
And characters I have very well outlined.
Characters I have a better idea.
We did 76 characters.
Okay.
76. So, character memories. Kaylee.
Oh, okay. So, there's probably a lot. I liked all the characters we met. I picked 4. I'm going to keep it brief.
Out of 76.
Out of 76, yes. That's okay.
I picked 4. Okay. I thought Oswald was really, really cool.
I wrote Oswald too. That was a fun one.
We ran into him, we were literally leaving DCA and he was just right there on the side, kind of hidden. That's a cool one just because of the history of Oswald. So that was really cool. And he was a fun meet. And honestly, it was really awesome too, because there were only 2 or 3 people in front of us in line, and each of them had Oswald merch. They were legit fans. So that was kind of cool. I was I feel like I'm underqualified to be in this meeting.
I feel like Kaylee was at the photo pass point out queen, and I was character.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Katie was good.
So we were about to leave, and I was guys, Oswald Lucky Rabbit over there.
Katie is generally a pretty good character spotter. The one character she was not able to identify was Jon Favreau. I can
spot the character, but the problem is if you're gonna point something out to me, I'll never find it.
Yeah.
If you're someone over there, where?
That's what I'm saying. Jon Favreau was the one character you didn't see.
But if I see them, I'll be guys.
On the other hand, if we had Kaylee with us when Jon Favreau walked by, she would have seen him in a heartbeat.
I don't know. Would Kaylee have recognized Jon Favreau?
I don't know if I don't know if I would have recognized him.
I think you would have.
Maybe.
Even if you didn't know who he was, I think you would have.
I might have recognized.
That guy looks famous. She's good at celebrity spot.
I don't know. I mean, like with Melissa and Holly, I'd stared at their faces for 8 years, so I kind of knew who they were. But yeah, so my next one was from the VIP meeting lunch, Dracula.
Same.
Dracula.
Stealing all of Katie.
No, we had a good moment with Dracula.
We did. He gave us a little button and signed it over. I loved him. He was so sweet. That Dracula, like that's not what you would probably say about Dracula. He did a good job with the role, but like you could just tell he was like a cool guy. Like he was just a sweet guy.
I was wearing a Frankenstein shirt, and I think he could just be. He was like, ah, yes,
My people.
these are people that appreciate me.
I think this is Zoe saying she would have spotted John Favreau.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe Oswald. I don't know. Zoe, you might have to clarify.
I feel like I would have spotted him maybe, but I wouldn't have been like able to tell you who that was. I've been like, this is someone. Don't know who. This is someone. Loki, of course. Particularly the one Loki, you know who I'm talking about.
Yes,
The one
the
Loki.
Loki. Yes.
The Loki. Yes.
The one
And
Loki
also,
ruled them all.
yeah, I think we met
The
him.
God
We
of
only met him
Mischief Loki, not the
TVA.
TVA.
Loki.
TVA. Yeah, we met him twice this trip. I think we met him twice the trip before. I met this man at least 4 times. He is the one I said in my vlog last time that we were gonna have a June wedding. I'm a big
He's
fan.
almost this person is almost more Loki than
Loki.
Yeah.
only because we've just seen him. We've seen this.
Yes.
Well,
This
Tom
cast
Hiddleston
member
occasionally
so
has to step out of the
good.
role, but
Loki,
Loki is
yeah.
full Loki all the time.
I know he is so good, and yeah, same guy from 2 years
And you
ago.
showed him his backpack.
Showed him my bag. He was really sweet about that. I would say he's number 2 for me though. My number 1 character interaction, believe it or not, is Scooby-Doo. I was very excited to meet Scooby-Doo. And Scooby was
impromptu little.
yes. So really quickly, the backstory on that, we were not
The Loki, the one Loki.
oh yeah. If he's the Loki. We took pictures with the TVA one. You know which one I'm talking about. Anyways, so really quick backstory with the VIP tour, they don't actually have time in there for you to go and do characters. Really, they don't like set up a special time because there's not like a VIP line for that. So we're like going to do Waterworld, and I had like on a Scooby-Doo shirt and a Scooby-Doo backpack, and our tour guide Matt was so sweet, and he was like, if you want to go take a picture with Scooby-Doo, like you can catch up. I know you can. And so me and Katie hopped out. We were like, oh, we're gonna go take a picture. And so it was really cute, and he loved my backpack. The absolute cutest moment ever, like him freaking out about my backpack. So that was really sweet. I loved meeting him.
I will also say we had a 12-person VIP group, but you can pay an extra fee to get like a type, like just your group.
Mm-hmm.
And if we had done that and we had told them at the beginning, like we want to meet characters, I think they would have organized.
Yeah.
But you can't pull 12 people off mission to go, meet Scooby typically.
Yeah.
But he did say like our group is smaller now because a couple people dropped out. You guys want to go meet Scooby? We'll meet you at the front gate of Waterworld. And
yeah, I think we had enough time. And I mean, the line was super short.
Yeah.
So I think we were like maybe next in line, like we hopped in, and like I think he could just tell I was like gonna be bummed.
More points in Matt's group.
Matt.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Ian!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
All right, Katie.
Okay, that's mine.
So, Kaylee and I overlapped with 3
Oswald
and Dracula. I also wrote down from the VIP lunch, Gabby the cabbie and Lucy or Lucille Ball. They came around during the VIP lunch, and we had a very nice long interaction with them. It was very cool. I enjoyed that as well. This is kind of broad, but when we were in our Gravity Falls costumes, there were so many characters at Oogie Boogie that knew, like, and I mean characters like Frozone.
Oh yeah,
Frozone knew who we were dressed as and was excited to see us.
Frozone, Goofy, Madam Mim, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
They all knew.
Didn't Judge Doom kind of like you think maybe he did? Since
I don't know if Judge Doom knew. I know
Pointed
Madam Mim said
Definitely.
like you're forest explorers. I see.
Yeah. There were a lot, and so that was just really cute. And like when Tim had basically his Dipper costume on later, like Chip from
Chip and Dale, yeah.
Chip and Dale from Goofy's
I did just
Kitchen
decide to wear
recognized.
Dipper to breakfast the next day because I was like,
So anytime
have it.
characters recognize and we're excited to see us, I thought that was just a fun interaction moment, I think. That's cool. Also, honorable mention to Hans at Oogie Boogie Bash. I had like a full-on conversation with him, and I was trying to like give him sass because he's a villain, but he was just like he was not taking anything. Like he every time I said something, he would, bite back with a reasonable response, and I was just like, and
he made you the villain.
Full disclosure, like he was really cute, and I was like, oh man, like I can't keep staring at your face and trying to like tell you how evil you are, and it was. Yeah.
I did have my own interaction with Hans after the fact because I stood up and took a picture after I got a picture of you guys, and he also recognized Gravity. Actually, Loki recognized Gravity Falls too, which was a big win.
Yeah.
No, Hans actually recognized like the Gravity. I had like Dipper's journal from Gravity Falls, and he was like, "Oh, what's this? A guide to mystical creatures?" And I was like, "Yes, in an area known as Gravity Falls, portends to supernatural. Maybe you're familiar." And he goes, "Oh, I've had enough of that. I think I'll leave that to you. I've had quite enough of the supernatural." So yeah, fun times.
That was a good one.
Can y'all guess what my favorite character moment was?
It can only be Scarlet Witch.
Well, Black Widow is Black Widow. I felt like Black Widow and Scarlet Witch are up there.
Black Widow for years. I've been looking for Wanda.
But Scarlet Witch was another one during Oogie Boogie that I saw, and I was like, guys, that's Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, that was cool.
I was about to.
We had to stake her because she was gone. And
Kaylee was all about that parade, and Scarlet Witch
I was also all about the parade.
The thing was,
Kaylee was like,
Tim,
"This is my one thing."
No, it was my one thing. But Tim was like, "It's okay. Like you can go do your parade. I'm gonna meet Scarlet Witch," and I'm like, "Well, I want to meet Scarlet Witch too."
We did both of them. We did.
We did do both.
Meet Scarlet Witch, get a last ride on Guardians, and do the parade, and we did it.
We did only with and I'm so sorry we did not get this cast member's name because he was a huge help to us.
Yeah.
But he did when we were like, "Okay, man, here's the deal. We really want to meet the Scarlet Witch, but we also really want to see the parade. When does the Scarlet Witch come back?" And he's like, "He'll be back at 10:15, which is about the same time as the parade starts. But if you hightail it over to that,
but the thing is, the parade
starts
starting across the park.
Then,
so I asked the other cast member, "What time does the parade get here?" And it takes like 15 minutes for the parade to get here, so it worked out.
The issue, we were scared though because when we had seen the earlier parade in passing, you could not find a spot.
Yeah,
like if you waited too close, and so then that was like the thing of like, is it gonna happen? Is it not gonna happen? So it was kind of that was probably the most stressful part of the night, but it was worth it, and we got to do both things.
You guys, I am so my heart is full from meeting. So here's what happened, right? First of all, this is not Wanda from like the pre-WandaVision era. This is like the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, she even had the black tip fingers.
She had the black tip fingers.
She's opened
from
the
Darkhold. And so this will be in the vlog. It's part of the Oogie Boogie Bash vlog. I am determined to leave this in. So we know she's coming. The cast member when TVA Loki, who was the other character who's swapping in and out, we met him before, and we'd already done that. And then we're like standing in line. We get in line exactly when we need to meet the Scarlet Witch after Loki swaps out. And the cast member comes up to us and is like, "Just so you know." And we're like, "You don't have to do the speech. We know. Like, we're here for Wanda." And she's like, "Okay, cool. You know what you're doing." And then she's like, "She'll be out in just a second. Keep your eyes on the door." And so I have both cameras trained on the door. And then Wanda, the little minx, comes from the back of the line, tiptoes around to the front, and walks in front of the cameras and just stares at us like she's staring and stealing our souls. And she's like, "Hello, come with me."
Yeah.
And she is so stone-faced, like just like just a little bit crazy, like actual like MCU Wanda at this point.
It was very intimidating.
So it was terrifying, but it was also wonderful. So Kaylee and Katie go and they take pictures.
Yeah.
And I've got the camera, and they're talking to Wanda, and she's trying to explain, like, yes, I'm visiting different planes looking for my boys. They are not on this plane anymore, unfortunately. And I'm like, you know what? It seems like you're being very reasonable. And she goes, you're a man of sense. And I'm like, I'm with you. I see where you're going. I'm on your team. And she just stares.
Yeah, meanwhile, just
like,
not
no
blinking.
response, just like stares at me for like a half beat. And I watched the footage back, and you guys are right. It was only like a second.
Yeah.
That
was like,
second,
that was like 10 seconds.
eternity.
And we were like, Tim, it wasn't
I was
that
like,
long.
oh my God, what did I say? She's going to kill me. And then we walked away from that moment, and I was like, guys, I think I'm in love with Wanda.
I think the only time Tim's had like that dramatic of reaction was meeting like Katie Cassidy?
Katie Cassidy, yeah. Like the actual actress Katie Cassidy.
Like,
when I met her, I forgot my name.
He like came out after that.
I straight up forgot my name.
He's like, I forgot who I was.
And I, if you have any questions about this, I shook Katie's hand thinking she was a photographer. When she
like my
like her.
He came around the corner. He's like, thank you very much. I'm like, hello.
Like,
Take your bag back. After meeting that.
Yeah.
She put a spell on me.
That was wild. That was. You guys will see in the vlog. It's a moment. Okay. Anyway, good characters.
Good character moments. So, and many more. We're forgetting a ton of them, I'm sure, but those were some good highlights of characters for sure.
Okay. Events.
Event moments.
We're almost done.
So I kind of mentioned this already. Just being dressed up for Halloween again, which I know some adults do it all the time. It had been years since I like did it and went something. So I like being dressed up as characters and going around like Oogie Boogie and being recognized by cast members, costume cast members, other people. There was like a young girl and a boy dressed as Dipper and Mabel, and then like they had a brother wearing like a Bill Cipher shirt, and we were like, hey! And it was just so many good moments like that. So that was really cool. There were actual Gravity Falls art drawings in the art store. Is it drawn to life? I think in
no, off the page.
Oh, off the page. Okay, yeah, drawn to life is the Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, it's very different.
Very different. Off the page, there was like a Waddles and Dipper, Mabel, and Gruggle Stan, and that was super cool. So those were really fun moments for me. Also, at Halloween Horror Nights, this is in the vlog, so it probably isn't super worth digging into. But we had decided before we did the Quiet Place house, we were like, we're gonna try not to scream. We're gonna try to see if we would survive this scenario, because if you scream, you die in a Quiet Place. And the three of us like made it through, and I was like, I took it so seriously. I was like trying very hard not to scream. At some point, I would like put my finger above, and there was like, I know the actors, like Halloween Horror doesn't let the actors like have a whole lot of freedom. They have their cues and stuff that they have to do. But I was like, I had a moment with Pa where he comes at you with an axe, and I'm like trying to be quiet. And I swear he looked at me and like nodded, and I was like, okay, he gets it. We're trying to be quiet here. And we went through it, and at the end, like we all came out and we're like, we didn't scream, we would have lived. Maybe, but I thought that
we didn't have those people behind us.
Yeah, that's true. The people behind us.
We all would have died for their folly.
But I felt like really good. I was like, I didn't.
Yeah.
So that was a fun moment.
That was also on mine. Because honestly, going into it, like that was, I think we all, like, we didn't even have to tell each other. I think we all were like, this is what we're going to do. The same page. Right. We understood the assignment. Like, that's what you got to do in this house. But I also was like, I don't think I'm going to succeed, but I did. I was very surprised. Yeah, we were all like really, and that was a really good house in my opinion. That was like, I think that was in the top, I think that might've been my favorite house, honestly, but it was really good. So that was also a top moment for me.
I also just want to quickly respond to Ian's comment about not being cool enough to go to California. You're looking and speaking with
Like
the
the
least
biggest dorks.
cool people in the entire YouTube verse.
Yeah.
We found a way. If your heart's in it, you can find a way. All right, Kaylee, was that your top moment, or did you have it?
Well, yeah, like that one. That was it pretty much for like Halloween Horror Nights. I would kind of agree to piggyback off of Katie with Oogie Boogie. I enjoyed dressing up. I enjoyed the few people that knew I was Wendy. It was not quite as many as y'all got, but it was still really cool. There were people who knew I was Wendy and got excited. And also just like I mentioned previously, like I was not like looking forward to getting candy. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I don't want any candy, but I was not like, I don't know. It's just like when you haven't been trick-or-treating in so long and then you go and you're trick-or-treating again, it was so fun.
And you're
So
actually like dressed up and like,
Yeah.
people are complimenting your costume. It's so fun.
It was fun. If I lived in California, I think I'd go every year.
Oh, absolutely.
Every year.
That's a no-brainer.
I'd go more than once because we'd go and Tim would vlog it and like, okay, we're going again and we're not doing cameras. Like we're
Right.
We're
Yeah.
gonna dress in super elaborate costumes.
Yeah.
The second day we do.
Yeah.
Our casual cosplays made it work. Did we have a Beetlejuice house? Or that might have been from, I know we had one in a previous
we did,
year.
yeah, because we did was Kaylee there when we did? Yeah,
We did. I did Beetlejuice with y'all.
Did you do
It was
Beetlejuice?
in
house.
2021. Yeah, 2021.
Okay.
Beetlejuice.
It was
that
a
was
fun
one.
house.
That
It
was
was a
like
good
that was
house.
like the Ghostbusters one. It was like the fun one.
That was for the 30th.
Yeah.
30 years, 30 pairs.
True that.
Okay. My event memory. I think probably. I feel like it's too stereotypical an answer for this season, but I really do feel like Insidious was an amazing house. Amazing house.
I'm just remembering Kaylee coming out of it and being like, "Oh, no." Like, we're not sure you were even gonna go in.
Yeah.
We took on
I-
Saturday houses.
I did my research. Okay, so I'm the kind of person, like I work in a nursing home, and if I like have gotten stuck in patients' rooms before when they were watching like Ouija board stuff, and I'm like, I can't. It freaks me out. If it's about demonic stuff, it freaks like possession. I hate it. It freaks me out. Anyway, so I like read what Insidious was about, and I was like, oh, should I do this house? I don't know. So I'm walking in, and I was okay up until the very end, and then at one point, I think I like pushed past Katie, and I'm like even with her, and I'm like, we gotta go. We gotta go. Like,
That was the final gauntlet is like for you the worst part, for me the best part.
I think you
was
were like
got
this
hit,
close to like
4
kissing the
times.
ground when we got out of there.
I know. I was like, we gotta go. And then I got out, and I was like, God, just don't any of the darkness. I can't. It was too much, but it was okay. Like I was okay till the very end. It was too much.
You did really, really good. Honestly,
It was yeah. I don't think I like fully understood the whole story either, but I was glad. I was happy I did it with you guys. I know y'all really appreciated and loved that house. And I'm glad we got it done early in the night.
Yeah. Also, late night with Chucky.
Oh yeah,
It's a very
late
brief
night with
experience,
Chucky.
but it was so fun.
Another thing we dragged Kaylee to that was definitely not her cup of tea.
It was okay. It wasn't terrible.
No.
I kept all the highlights in the blog. It's a 15-minute experience late night with Chucky.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of people were saying like they used to do something much longer and more. I don't know. I guess more R-rated is the best way to put it. Like where he would be a little bit more liberal with the swearing and whatnot. But I think the way they have it right now is more in keeping with the Halloween Horror Nights experience as a whole, but also with the modern Chucky and the way he's portrayed on the show.
He's just,
which I know Kaylee wouldn't know that, but like just the way it's also like fun to interact with Chucky. Like you get to ask him your questions ahead of time, and then the host will turn around and ask Chucky the questions. And someone was asked like, "How would Chucky kill you?" And he's like, "So Ruth, what do you like to do?" He's like, "Oh, cook." And he's like, "Oh, great. So your kitchen. Imagine your kitchen. It's gonna be a great kitchen. You're gonna be like,
it's like Gordon Ramsay's kitchen.
yeah, it's the kitchen in the fair. So you're gonna have all these mixers and everything is gonna be, and you're gonna be in the middle of making this fantastic souffle. and then I'm gonna come in with a knife, like, and then stab, stab, stab.
Yeah,
And it's like the horror version of a Muppet. He's just sitting at the table, like.
Yeah. But it's nice that he did, like, because one of, like, Chucky's, I don't need to go into this, but I'm going to. One of Chucky's, like, things that he's known for, he's a doll, he's little, his feet are, like, this big. And what endeared me to him watching the first movie, which I was terrified of ever watching, like, I never thought I would watch him, but what endeared me to him was seeing this little puppet feet running across the floor. It made me laugh so hard. And now it's like a thing that happens, like it happens all the time. So when he was doing like the with it, like he was making it, I was dying. I was like, I can't, this is too funny.
He's small and he's terrifying,
he is small,
but he's also cute.
There's just like the little feet running. I can't. I'm a crazy person. Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, Kaylee was a trooper.
Everything that you guys mentioned about Oogie Boogie and my character moment also came from Oogie Boogie. So all the events, I think we got more than our money's worth out of.
Yeah, definitely good memories.
Last category is food. Dining experiences.
Why don't y'all start?
A lot of them. We haven't talked about any of them, but
that VIP lunch.
It was good.
Well, Katie's going first.
Yeah. Okay.
It was real good.
During Hollywood, Universal Hollywood, was so good. It was like delicious. The food was so good. I got like, they had like the I alluded to this earlier. They had these coffee machines that I've only ever seen. Now I'm sure these aren't the only places they exist, but it reminded me of the coffee machines that I got to use in the Netherlands when we were staying at the Efteling Hotel, where they had like all these fancy buttons and they brewed a nice cup of coffee and you could make like a cappuccino or whatever. And I don't usually drink coffee more than once in the morning, but I knew we were going to have a late night. And I was like, I'll take a fancy machine. I'm going to get it. And it was served in like a VIP cup and I just felt so swanky and I loved it. And then it was practically a character meal because during that meal, that's when we met Dracula. We had Doc from
Doc Brown, Back to the Future.
Lucy and Gabby, the cabbie, all came through. So it was.
We would have met Marilyn if we'd come at a different time of day.
It was practically a character.
Oh, really?
On top of I'm sure she probably pops in at some point. You had a fantastic view. You could pop out there and see like the fantastic view. The food was so good. They had like charging stations there. It was just like I think that was a top meal moment.
Matt said at the beginning of our tour that like his goal was for us to want to do it again. And I'm like, goal achieved, because now it's the only way I'm ever going to do Universal.
Yeah.
I agree. It was so good.
I also loved Carthay Circle Lounge.
I was wondering if that was
one of my favorite meals. I don't know. Were we vlogging that day?
Yes.
Okay.
That will be part of it. I think the day 2 vlog.
There's just a lot of good memories. First of all, we just had like a really good meal, but Kaylee, one of my favorite things is Kaylee just like really wanted some popcorn, like some Disneyland popcorn. And we were at the lounge, we were eating outside. And Kaylee was like, there's a popcorn cart. Like, so she's like done with her meal and we're having our dessert. And she just like boops out. Like over this, like,
I'll be right back. And she gets up.
Over this rope, goes over, gets some popcorn. And I like go to the bathroom. By the time like I come back from the bathroom, he's back there eating Disneyland popcorn. Like this is like having a blast. And so that's like a bonus memory on top of one of my favorite meals that we had.
It was right there. So,
it was so funny. And I was thinking like, oh yeah, it was like, oh, it's right there. We could finish up our meal and like go get you some popcorn. And she's like, no, I'm gonna go get it.
I did like Carthay Circle a lot too. Yeah, al fresco dining is what you're talking about.
We got we got like 3 little appy shareables.
We also, I was gonna vlog it originally, but I decided not to because we already kind of covered this, and it wound up being like one of our last days, and I was like, I'm just gonna enjoy it. But Princess Breakfast is always.
How could I forget?
Always good.
It was so good.
We did a lot of character meals, but that is the best value character.
That meal is so good.
It is, yeah. The food is astronomically better than I think any other breakfast I've ever had on Disney property. And I've had a lot of meals on Disney property, but also that particular. Katie and I have done Princess Breakfast, I think 3 times.
We've done it 3 times.
Kaylee has done it twice. And across those 3, only once has the roster of characters ever changed. But it changed pretty drastically on this visit during Halloween. We got Raya
and
Merida. And they were both great. Like they were
fantastic.
Yeah.
They were some of my favorite characters to talk to the whole trip.
That was really fun.
So, food and characters. Go ahead, Kaylee. We'll keep going.
Oh, yeah. I had all of those things. I also like, honestly, I love Goofy's Kitchen. It's not probably in like the absolute top for me, but I think it was still solid. And had some really good character interactions and food. Higher than that, even for me, was Storytellers Cafe. I love Storytellers.
Oh, when we did the breakfast.
I was unwell after that.
Yeah. We did.
we did the breakfast.
We did both.
Characters.
We did both. We did breakfast.
We did both.
And
yes.
then we did dinner.
I liked both. The breakfast was so good. Like so good. I wish I had a bigger stomach. But yeah, both was fantastic. Also a notable mention. Sweet potato fries. Tangaroa Terrace.
Oh yeah, the Tangaroa sweet potato fries.
They were good.
Had them twice on that trip. We brought him back to the hotel room and like sat on the floor.
Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah, eating, or we sat on the floor eating. I had the sweet potato fries with the like aioli, and then Katie, you had like green beans, right? Like the fried green beans, and then Tim you had something that was like tempura.
You got the shrimp tempura?
Yeah, the shrimp tempura was really good. The salad went bad after like a day, which was sad.
Yeah,
but
that wasn't a win.
That was not a win. But I think if I'd eaten it right then, it would have been okay.
Yeah.
I just ran out of room, and I thought I was saving myself something for later, and I was not.
But there was quite a few meals. We'd sit on the floor watching
Gravity Falls. Yeah, that was good. I had those twice, and they were delicious. So honorable mention for that.
The Storytellers has been slightly, like the experience has been darkened for me a little bit, just because I ate too much.
Yeah.
But
is that Storyteller's fault, or is that
Storyteller's fault? Say for like it's just like, it's kind of like it's not Disney World's fault if you have a car wreck on the way to Disney World, but you'll always think of the car wreck.
My problem with any just Disney buffet is I don't think it's ever worth like the price that they're like. It's like $59 or something.
You have to eat
like
3 plates to get your money.
And I just am like, there's just no way I eat $59 worth of food. But the food is good. It's a nice it's a nice place. The problem, like I see that price tag and I'm like, if I don't leave here feeling unwell, I didn't eat enough.
Yeah.
And that's not.
I'm not feeling unwell.
That's not.
I do like. I don't think we had any food that whole trip that was bad. Like bad. Like some of it was lesser, but
yeah. Probably my least favorite was that bat cookie. I should have not bought that.
Yeah, that bat
cookie.
It was not great. Not a win.
No,
not a win. It was not. I don't think we finished it.
On the other hand,
cute, but
you had yourself a Snoopy cookie again. So.
I did. The Snoopy cookie held up. Did a good job.
Snoopy cookie was good.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Also, my Rice Krispie treat. Very good.
Oh yeah, your mini my rice. Ugh.
Yeah, it was like the M&M Mickey Mouse Rice Krispie treat. It was very good.
So we had, was it a cute bat cookie? It was a cute bat cookie.
It was a cute bat cookie.
It was like a Mickey.
It didn't taste
like a
good.
Mickey vampire bat cookie.
Yeah, it was from, I think they had it several places, but we got it from the coffee shop there. Yeah.
Disneyland Hotel.
And it was really cute, and it wasn't like trash. It just, it just had a weird taste.
It had, it was like, I know it sounds strange to say like the cookie was too sweet, but it was like too.
It did.
It tasted like Splenda sweet. Like it wasn't even like real sugar cookie. I was like, is this like made with like fake sugar?
Yeah, and I like sugar cookie, but I kept eating it, and I asked Katie, I'm like, Katie, try this cookie. This cookie tastes weird. And she tried it, and she's like, it does taste weird. I'm like, it's.
And we were like, ate like we're like, we'll eat it over the course of the week. It sat there just like being sad, and we were like, no. I'm gonna eat my Oogie Boogie candy.
Yeah, we ate so much Oogie Boogie candy. It was unreal. Like so much.
So we are roughly 2.5 minutes away from being the longest live stream of our
Woo!
YouTube career.
Yeah.
So anyone who has stuck it out for this entire evening, like, God bless you. You have done us a kindness.
If you're watching this on replay, I'm also sorry, but thank you.
Yeah, I hope if Francis actually circled back, she should say all of it. We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. This is kind of a precursor to a vlog series, which may be interrupted by other things as we kind of wrap up our spooky season, at least Katie and I. As we wrap up our spooky season and then head into like the holiday season, we've got more content coming that needs to get out first because of media obligations as well as just like relevancy windows. But over the next couple of months, you're going to see no less than 8 videos from this trip. The first one is already out in the form of Halloween Horror Nights, and Kaylee supplied some of that footage. So you have a little taste in there of what she got, and it's pretty good footage. But we will definitely be posting more of this trip over the next couple of, I think months is accurate, because it's going to be like January, February before some of this stuff gets posted. There's also POVs coming too. We got some Disneyland POVs and some other stuff that we're pretty excited about. I got probably the best Incredicoaster POV I'm ever going to see. So it was a fun trip. We spent 11 days, I think, total in the Southern California area. It was a lot of money, but there is no replacing the memories we got.
Yeah.
It was a good time, and we were glad to travel with you, Kaylee.
Yeah, it was nice to live some of those moments, almost a month later. So if you were listening to us ramble, thank you so much.
Tim says, helping me stay up late, so it works out. We're training you, Tim. The next live stream is going to go until 11:30.
Please. No.
I want to go ahead and plug creators before we wrap it on up. These are some. I didn't mean to do a girl power theme, but that's what I wound up doing. So Becky Taka is a good friend in the haunt industry, but as well, she's also in the unicorn and fairy industry.
And
mermaids, which is, I mean, her. She's multi-talented. She's also got a business. So y'all should check out Becky Taka. She's got a Facebook page, a TikTok, a Facebook again, because I'm very tired putting these PowerPoints together. Instagram is what I meant to do there. And then she's got a website for her business, which I believe, and don't let me get this wrong, is Kira Entertainment. Yeah, Kira Entertainment, Kira.Entertainment. But it's all linked off of her main page. Also, Universally Natalia, who is on Instagram and Threads pretty much exclusively. She has a growing base, but I really vibe with her. She's ADHD, and she shares a lot of our struggles as introverts in promoting content. And I think she's a really great personality with a really deserving approach to especially the Universal parks. But she does other stuff as well. Magic Matters podcast is a podcast hosted by Demi Sunderly and Erica from Healthy Dose of Disney. And they have been doing a really great job at building an audience. Fresh new podcast that is mostly Disney focused, but also Central Florida and other theme parks in the area. So definitely check them out. Both great people, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and of course on podcast. And of course, we want you all to subscribe and follow Kaylee, who will have content out from this trip as well at some point in the future. 1 to 2 years.
The next 1 to 2 years.
Fantastic Travel on YouTube and fantasmic.kaylee on Instagram. Yes. Is that it for you, Kaylee, or you don't have any other socials that you?
Well, I mean, I also have a website, but I'm working on like changing it up because it's still Phantasmic Fandoms. And it's just blog posts about the YouTube channel. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But I'm working on being more consistent. I have a lot of things going on, unfortunately, which I know everyone says that, so it's not an excuse, but
I mean, y'all may have noticed we didn't post a vlog last week because we were morbidly ill. So it happens. Like you get off sync, and then you have to like pick up the pace to get it back. So
yeah. Well, hopefully YouTube liked my year late California vlogs this last time. YouTube didn't mind. So I'm like, maybe they won't mind again. I don't know. Like, we'll see. I don't ever expect them to do well, but I do genuinely like love just posting them. And they get like 2 views, then that's fine. Me and you guys will enjoy them.
We'll make sure we always give them a
Yeah,
one
I mean,
view.
we always at least plug you a little bit. It will be probably a while before we are back together, the 3 of us, for another trip.
Yeah.
But it will happen in the future. We have some things on the itinerary that just have to be invested in.
Yeah.
Nope.
We're recovering from 10 days in
Disneyland.
California.
I know. Y'all were with me for a long time.
Not the social element.
Oh, no.
The financial element.
Y'all saw me eat lots of candy.
Guys, I don't think you understand how much candy Kaylee eats. All right, our next live stream, which we're not doing topics on the previews anymore. It's not official until it comes out as a thumbnail. But next live stream is actually going to be next week, not the week after, because we have to get back on cycle, or we're going to wind up cutting into our vacations. So November 19th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We will see you all back here, hopefully, those of you who can tolerate us.
Did not realize that was a week from now.
Yep.
Oh, dear.
Yep.
Yay!
Thank you, Kaylee, for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a good time talking about other good times.
Yeah.
Everyone go subscribe to Kaylee. Subscribe to us if you like what you saw. And until next time, I'm Tim.
I'm Katie.
I'm Kaylee.
And every night
Is a new
adventure.
and we will see you again soon. Back in the saddle!